Hello and welcome to this full course on Nuxt and Prismic. During this course, we'll cover a ton of stuff as we build together a production-ready marketing website. You'll learn how to build this Nuxt free, we'll bring our content from Prismic, we'll style our website using Tailwind CSS, and we'll make all our code more reliable by using TypeScript. My name is Lucy, I'm on the developer experience team at Prismic. I'm a Nuxt core team member and I'm really excited to dive into this project with you. This tutorial assumes you already have a grasp of Vue.js, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's good if you're somewhat familiar with Nuxt, but don't worry if you're not. We'll be covering everything we'll go through, so we'll be up to speed in no time. Now, why would you want to build a website with Nuxt? Nuxt is a Vue.js framework that offers many features like server-side rendering, static generation, and file-based routing. It has an amazing developer experience with integrated dev tools, auto-imports for everything, and a rich ecosystem to support you. It's a great choice for quickly shipping high-performance and production-ready website, and with it, you can build pretty much anything these days. For our content, we're going to use Prismic. Now let's talk about Prismic. Prismic isn't just another CMS. With Prismic, we get a cloud-hosted headless page builder. Your clients or content team can easily craft new, on-brand pages without bugging developers, and your visitors get a world-class user experience. So let's see what we're actually going to be building. This is Florize. It's a website we'll be building from scratch to production. Florize is statically generated, allowing it to be as fast as the web can go and SEO friendly. And again, Florize isn't just a quick demo project. We'll be building it together from scratch to production. So, wow, what is Florize? Florize is a marketing website. It has a home page and a few other pages, as we can see here. But basically, each of those pages is made of sections. We have, for example, your hero section with like a big title, some description, a CTA, and an image of the product. Then we have a testimonial section, a feature section, and a repetition of those text image section as we can see here. And finally, a CTA section at the end of the page. So if you look at our Figma file that I have right here, we can see we have the pages we've been browsing. So we have the home page, and then we can make the feature page and the about page if we want to. But if we look more closely, we can see we have some repeating section here across those pages. For example, like the testimonial slice here, we can see it here, here, and here. And as I just slipped, like, well, at Prismic, we call them slices. And those are all of them on this website. So if we zoom here, we have the hero slice that is responsible for like the hero section that we want to use on our website. So we have the big flashy one here with like a big title, some description, and like a CTA, and like this eye-catching image that is displayed right here. And we have like the more like subtle one that is like some kind of variation of it with just like the text on the left and like the image on the right. We have this text image section that is just like an image and some text. The feature section that is a repetition of some like feature shoutouts that we want to give. Testimonial section we've been talking about, and finally the call to action here. And this is really like the gist of this crash course. Like we'll be building those sections together. And the reason we're focusing on building website sections that then as a content writer, when you hand over these website sections to them, they have the ability to build pages and compose them the way they want to within Prismic. For example, if we look at our home page as a content writer, you might want to say like, well, like maybe actually like I want the testimonials to be a bit higher. So let's put them a bit higher. And maybe like this feature section, like, well, like we want to pull it like within the text, like just to break a bit like the rhythm. And finally, like also like you can be like, well, actually on the about page, I also want like some text. So, well, let's put some text here. Let's put it before like the testimonials. And if you want to spin up another page, like you can just do so. So like, let's just duplicate that one, remove that, this, and well, like we have a whole other page that is like unique and composed of those website sections we've been making together. So that's really the mindset I want you to be in, like to focus on building sections of website, because this way, like by shipping website sections, like you're not looking at this like feature page here and thinking, wow, like the hero has always to be followed by this feature section, and then we have like a text image section. We really want to focus on shipping slices and like website sections to our content writers so that they can define as many pages as they want. So, well, that's Florize. That's the website we're building together with Nuxt and Prismic and Tailwind CSS. So, well, let's get into it. So just like as if you are working with a real designer, working on a real site, we're going to be getting our designs from Figma and referencing a file for images, assets, and everything. That means that you're going to need a Figma account that is free. So go ahead and sign up for one if you don't have one already. So we're going to be fetching a file from Figma community. So you can reach out to figma.com/community, and here in the search bar, search for something like Flowrise. So this will get you this file right here that has been made by my colleague Alex Trost. And from here, you can click Open in Figma, and this will get you your very own copy of the Figma design for the Flowrise website. And really, this copy is yours, so feel free to play with it. You can move stuff around, edit stuff. Like, it's really a file for you to play with. You can also try and like reorder section like we did before to see how it's working. But well, definitely get this Figma file. We're going to be referencing it a lot while developing our website. Okay, so the fastest way to get started with Nuxt and Prismic is to use one of Prismic starters. So to do so, head over to prismic.io. And from here, you can just log in into Prismic, or if you don't have an account yet, you can create one and set up one for free. Once you're on the dashboard here, you can click Next. And here you'll be prompted to select like the starter you want to start with. So on our case, like we want to go with the minimal starter here that, as you'll see, is really minimal, and that's perfect for us to get started and build a website from scratch with Flowrise. So on this window here, we just need to prompt for a repository name. So we'll go with Flowrise Next. Repository name needs to be unique. So you won't be able to pick Flowrise Next. But if you're named John, for example, you can go with Flowrise Next John, or whatever floats your boat, really. That's not a big deal. Just like needs to be a unique name for Prismic to know like where your content is stored. We'll stick with the free plan here and hit Create Repository. So what this does, it creates a repository on Prismic to manage our content. And we'll get back to that. But for now, we want to initialize our starter locally. And to do so, we just need to copy this command here that is given us by Prismic. So you click the little like copy to clipboard button here, it gets us into our clipboard. We open a terminal and we pass these commands in. So what this command is doing is cloning Prismic minimal starter and installing its dependencies. It also sets up Size Machine, Prismic developer tool, but we'll come back later to it once we're done setting up our project. It might ask you to log into Prismic if it's the first time you run it. To do so, you just have to press a key and open it in a browser. It's really simple, as you'll see. So right now it's finishing installing up our npm dependencies. Then it will upload a few things to Prismic and we'll get ready to pick inside our project. So here we go. Now it's publishing some things to Prismic, like logging in, publishing our sizes to Prismic, like so just the default data starters is coming with, no rows, we'll get back to them. And here we go, we're done initializing our project. So at the end it prompts you to, would you like to open your repository? So we don't want that today, so we just hit no. And then we can just get inside our project and open it inside VS Code with the code.command. So, well, this is our project. Good. So if you're familiar with Nuxt 3 already, you'll be familiar with most of the directories and files that you see here. So we have the pages directory for pages in Nuxt, the public directory for like static assets like our Nuxt 5 icons by default, the Nuxt server directory, and so on and so on. From Prismic, we have a few directories, like the custom types directories that holds our custom types definition on Prismic. So those are like some weird JSON that you don't need to know about because all of that will be managed for a UI that we'll use later on. Then we have the slices directory. This is our website section that we've been picking at on Figma. So by default, we have like a really simple rich text one, but we'll create our own later on. Now, if we pick inside our package.json, what we have here is mostly Nuxt dependencies. So we have the Nuxt dev tools, we have the Nuxt ESLint configuration, we have Nuxt, ESLint, like nothing too like wild here. From Prismic, we have the Nuxt.js Prismic dependency. This is Prismic module for Nuxt. And well, like really in Nuxt, like modules are the gold standard to integrate new technologies into Nuxt. And the role of this package is really to integrate Prismic inside Nuxt. You don't have any setup to do on your end. Then we have Size Machine UI, which is Prismic developer tool for you to work with Prismic. and this slice machine adapter Nuxt, which adapts this developer tool to work with Nuxt correctly. So again, like Nuxt modules are really the gold standard to integrate many technologies inside Nuxt. There are modules for pretty much anything, and we're about to use another one to add Tailwind to our project. So let's do that. Let's finish our project setup. First of all, going back to our Figma, we have this little like component style and assets page. Click on it, and here we have this typographic card that shows us all the fonts we're gonna use on our website. So we can see we're using 2. For the headings, we're using Nonito. And for the body, we're using Nonito Sun, which is like a bit more like a less like roundy one that is more visible like for users on like a small font size like we have on the body here. So for anything custom fonts like that to use on our website, I like to use font source. So font source, you can access this on fontsource.org, and it's a bit like a font as a package service on NPM. And so if we look for like Nonito here, we have Nonito and Nonito Sun. Those are the 2 ones that we want to use. So we can click on Nonito, click install, and then it gives us an npm command to install it. So we can go here, copy the code, get back to our terminal, clear everything, and install Nonito. So this will install the font locally so that we can use it on our project. Likewise, we want to use Nonito Sun because that's the second font we want to use for like our body text. So we go Nonito Sun and install it. So then once our font are installed like that, we just need to go to our next config here, and we'll add a new CSS assets array. This is a way in Nuxt to declare a new CSS style sheet that we want to use inside our project. So we can go here and add font source hyphen variable, because it's the variable font / Nonito, and add font source hyphen variable / Nonito Sun. And that match, like we're already ready to use those fonts inside our project. And that was the instructions were given here. So we just, as you imported like Nonito from font source variable, and same for Nonito Sun. And here we go, everything is installed in our project. But now to use our font, we're going to use Tailwind. And Tailwind is this really cool like CSS utility framework that we'll use to develop our project without having to write much style directly inside it. It will be all class-based with utility classes, but no worries if you're new to Tailwind, and we'll guide you through it, and it will be quite a smooth ride together. So as I said earlier, I teased a bit, to integrate Tailwind inside Nuxt, the best way to do it is to use the Tailwind module for Nuxt. So we can access it through tailwindcss.nuxtjs.org. But basically with Nuxt, if you're looking for a module, just head to nuxt.com, click module, and from here you have a list of all the modules that are available for you to use in Nuxt. So here I could have searched for Tailwind, I have Tailwind CSS, and this gets me to the same website if I go to the documentation here. So to install it, I just need to launch this command npm install in the dev dependency Nuxt Tailwind. So we copy that, head to our terminal again, and pass our command. So it didn't pass, so no worries. So just like npm install -d at Tailwind Nuxt.js / Tailwind in CSS. So this installs the next Tailwind module inside our project. Of course, we'll need to declare it inside our Nuxt configuration. So again, we go back to our Nuxt configuration, and on the module array, we can see we already have the Prismic one configured. So we'll just add the Tailwind one that goes like this. So at Nuxt.js / Tailwind CSS. And from here, we just need to wire up Tailwind with the custom fonts we installed before. So we'll go ahead and create a quick tailwind.config.cgs file. And here we can go and do module.exports equal an object. We'll give it a theme. And we'll extend Tailwind theme to declare our font. So we go extend and then font family. And here we have body. So for the body fonts, we said we want to use a Nonito Sun variable. So we'll go like Nonito Sun variable, and we'll fall back to the default next sans serif font of our system. And we'll do the same for the heading font. So we'll go font heading, and here we'll go just Nonito variable, and that's for our heading. Another thing we'll need to do is Tailwind, just like because we're using Prismic and we're using this slices directory here, we'll need to make Tailwind aware that we have this directory that will contain classes for Tailwind to generate. And to do so with Tailwind, just need to add a content array here. And we'll inside it, we'll declare the quick /slices /*wildcard. And here we just pick anything that is JS, TS, or Vue. And we can save that. So, well, that's pretty much it. So as promised, we're done setting up our project and we'll version everything to Git. So to do so, we can go back to our terminal, run git init. This creates a Git repository inside our project with nothing on it. We can add everything to it. So we can stage every file we have. So this staged everything. I made some warning because I came on Windows and converted a few things for us, but that's what we want. And finally, we'll just run a commit. So git commit m, and we'll go like with the initial commit. And well, that's it. So we're done setting up our project. We installed Prismic. We started from a starter. Then we added our fonts to our project and we set up Tailwind. And from here, we're ready to start developing with Prismic for real. Now that we've got our project set up, let's get to know Prismic's powerful local development tool, Slice Machine. Slice Machine works with our development server. And because we started from a starter, we can start both Nuxt and Slice Machine server by running the dev command. So it goes like this, npm run dev. Basically what this does, that it starts our Nuxt server here on port 3000 as we used to. And also it starts Slice Machine on port 9999 right here. So we can open it in our browser. And really we can think of Slice Machine as a craftsman's workshop where we can create and shape our data models, all while reaping benefits like Git versioning, component previews, and auto-generated mocks. Within this tool, we can create different types of data model, pages, custom types, and slices. Let's start with pages. As you can see, we already have a generic page one here that features a minimal setup. Pages are typically used in Prismic to represent a page of your website, where content writers can compose website sections to tailor them to their liking without the need of developers, thanks to slices referenced in the slice zone section right here. No worries, we'll get back to it. Moving on, we have custom types. When building with Prismic, custom types serves as templates to create documents. These typically correspond to pieces of data on your website, like information about an offer, a pricing plan, and so on. They can also represent a multitude of elements, such as navigation menus, site settings, you name it. Finally, we have slices. We'll use them to represent page sections that we'll be focusing on in a few. And the last tab here is the Changes tab. It's not related to Git, it's related to what Prismic knows of your project. So when we work on it, we're ready to ship something new to Prismic, that's where we'll add to also let Prismic know about our changes so that Prismic is up to date and know what are our new website sections, for example. All right, it's time to create our very first content type. We're going to create a custom type we'll call settings. It's in this custom type that we'll put site-wide information, like the title of our site, or we define our navigation, or we put fallback SEO information, and so on. So we'll go to the Custom Types tab and click the Create button here. First of all, we need to decide between reusable type and single type. In this case, we'll go with single type because we only want one settings file in our website. We don't want multiple of them. We'll pick settings as a name. And this generates an ID for us, which in this case, just setting lowercase. So we'll stick with that and click Create. We're now inside our settings custom type that we can define. So we can see we get two options, static zone and slice zone. We'll get the difference when we create our own page, but for now, we'll only work with the static zone in our settings file. If we click Add a new field here, we're given options for fields, and this is what makes Prismic so powerful. You can add text, images, embeds, links, and a lot more. First, we want a field for our site or company's title. It's nice to have one of these because we use them at a bunch of places in our website. For example, it's what we'll use when we'll do the meta title and want a fallback. So like here, for example, we have like features and Florize, for example. So in that case, we have kind of two options. We can either pick a rich text field, which is like what we want when we want to have a field that we can like customize, like bold links and like multiple paragraphs and so on. Or a key text field, which is just like a plain text string. So in the case of like just the company title, we don't want any bold or things going on, so we'll stick with the key text field. But as soon as we want something like more rich, or for example, like for a fancy description or like a text slice that will work later on, we'll prefer rich text because this will allow content writer to like stylize the text the way they want and like add like images, multiple paragraphs within it, like just give us freedom. But in this case, for the company title, we just want a key text field. So we'll go with key text. And here we need like a field name for it. We'll go with site title. We can hit enter and then we're done. So wow, great. We've made our first field in Size Machine. We made a lot of field like for this tutorial. So well, we'll get used to it, but let's keep working with them. For SEO and social media, it's a good idea to have fallback content for any page that doesn't have meta description and OG images entered. Not every page needs a unique OG image, you know? So let's create a field for fallback meta description and OG image. For the meta description, we're going to again add a new field. We'll pick key text again because like a bold and emphasis like doesn't matter in the case of a meta description. And this one we'll name it meta description. Good. Now next, let's create our OG image fallback. So again, add a new field. We pick image and we name this one OG image. So, well, next to our field, we have this little like a crayon here. So if we click it, we can update our field and configure it further. So we have our label that is shown in the UI, the ID that we get in the API. In the case of an image, we can pick like a width and a height. So for example, we can say that our image, we want it like to be like more or less like what social media wants for OG images like this. And this will constrain our image to be within these sizes and so that we have like an image that is like tailored for OG images serving. Great. So we have 3 fields. Each of these fields will appear once in the settings document. Finally, we'll tackle our navigation menu. For this, we'll use a group field that includes a link field and a text field. Because what we want to render is if we go back to our Figma here and go to our website, we want to work on navigation, so we want to have a list of links here with like just a text and a link for each of them. So to do so, inside Size Machine, we click Add a new field, and this time we want a group. We'll call the group Navigation. And then inside it, we can click Add a new field, and we'll first add a link. So we go link, we'll call it link. And then we add another one. That will be this time again a key text, and that we'll just call it label. And well, everything inside this group is going to repeat, so we can have as many links as we want inside our navigation. And this enables the content editors to really like configure the navigation within Prismic. And you'll see all of that of this custom type in Prismic Page Builder. So let's head there now. But first of all, we need to save our custom type. Then we can go to our Changes tab here. We can see it as a change, like we have a new settings document that Prismic doesn't know about. So we can click Push Changes. This proceeds to pushing our changes to Prismic. Here you go, all styles have been pushed to Prismic. And now if we head back to our dashboard here, where we just created the repository before, we can click Refresh. Now this will like get us to the refresh page because like we initiated our repository in between. And from here, we have some default document that we can like just like don't care about for now. In our case, we create new. And you can see we have our settings document here that we just created together. We can click it. And here we can start entering like data about it. So we pick our site title. In our case, will be Florize. We'll put a meta description, which goes from some like lorem ipsum. You can pick an OG image. So you can select one from the media library here, so we'll put like this guy. And finally, we have our navigation here, so we can put like multiple links. So we'll put like a link to the web. It will be like to Prismic.io, for example. And we'll put an, so for like the label, we'll go with Prismic. And we add another one, for example, like this one, it will be to the web again. And we'll go with GitHub, so github.com, and we'll go with GitHub. And from here, you can hit save and publish, and we're done. We created our first custom type and content entry on Prismic together. Now that our settings document is live, we're ready to dive into customizing our website's layout. So if we go to our website right now, we can see just like rendering our default slice that comes with a minimal starter from Prismic. So let's have that on the side, and let's bring our VS Code right here. So we'll go with VS Code, and inside it, what we want to do is to create a layout that will englobe all our page. So in Nuxt, layout is stored under our layouts folder, and the default one is called just default. This one applies to all pages. So we'll go here, create like a layouts folder, and go /default to create our layout file. So we'll go with default.view, and this will be our layout. So inside it, we can just have a template, and we'll have a div, and we'll render a slot, which will be our page. So if I go ahead and save that, and now if I add like content here, it should show on our page. However, like sometimes like Nuxt struggles to pick up that we created a new directory and to watch things correctly. So I'll just give Nuxt a restart. So we restart our server running npm run dev. This starts again Nuxt and Slice machine. And going back to our server here, it's restarting, and we can see we now have our layout picked up here. So now if I make update to it, like it should be like auto reloaded, as you can just see here. Great. So from here, we'll add two things. We'll need like a header and a footer. We'll come back to that. But first of all, let's just add our background. Because as you can see on the website, it's like really subtle, but there's like a small like gradient going on here. Like really like just not plain white, but just like some kind of a purplish to like greenish here. So, well, we'll do that with Tailwind. So to do so, we create a div, just like an empty div, nothing inside it. And Tailwind is a utility framework. So it's based on CSS classes. So we go with add class here. And from our class, it will deduct CSS to apply to our, through this div really. So if I go here, we'll first do like add a fixed class. This is just to say like position fixed. And then we'll go with inset 0. So what this does just like puts the div across all our pages wherever we are. And from here, if I go like at the background, for example, I go like a background like slate, and I save, you can see like I have a slate background across all my website. Cool. That's not what we want, but we're getting there. As I said, we have a background on our website. So we'll add this background, and it's like some kind of gradient. So we're starting to make a gradient. First of all, we need to say like the direction of our gradient. So we go like BG for background, and then we go like gradient. We want a gradient. We want it to top right. And here we'll go like we said it was something like going from green like to purplish, something like that, or cyan perhaps. So we'll go here and we go like from emerald. And just to see it like a bit better, we'll go like emerald, maybe like 500. And then we'll go like to cyan, and again we'll cyan 500. So if I save that, we can see we now have a gradient showing up on our website. Cool. So, well, the issue is that we don't see our content anymore. So sure, we'll use this Z class from Tailwind to control Z index. And so we'll go Z -1 like this. And now it's behind our background. We add some opacity to not make it like that hard on the user, to go opacity 50. So that's like gives like a 0.5 opacity to the div we created. And we'll like tune down a bit like our like a gradient color to be more subtle like this. So that right now it's like just like well, really subtle as we had on our Figma file as we have here. So like just like really like from like purple to like greenish here, and that's what we have here. Cool. So that's really the case of Tailwind. Like you want you have a property in CSS, you can apply it on your page like this just by slapping classes on top of elements. Okay, so now that we have our page working with like a gradient and everything, let's create our header component. But to do so, I will go inside my like directory tree, and I'll create a new header component. So I'll go like components /header.view. So all this makes Nuxt like a bit restart because it takes like the new components directory. Inside it, I will add like my template, and like header template, like a header element, like this, and just add like our header for now like this. So one of the best features I love with Nuxt is that everything is auto-imported. So I don't have to worry about something like where to import it from. Everything is just picked up by Nuxt and auto-imported inside my app. So if I go here inside my layout, if I go back inside it, I can now type header, and Nuxt knows about my header component. So I can just save it like this. And if I save it, we now have our header showing up right here. So, well, let's make our header work now. So if we go back to our Figma here on Florize, you can see our header looks like this. Inside components, we have like a better view of it here. So we have our header, and basically what we see is that it's displaying a logo and then listing all our navigation here. So this navigation is coming from Prismic. So we have to get that data somewhere from Prismic. So how do we do so? And the way to fetch data in Nuxt from like third parties to use Nuxt async data composable. But in this case, we'll need like this data in the header, in the footer, and we also need that other places in our application. So we need to find a way to like fetch this data globally. And the way to do so is to create a composable in Nuxt. So we'll do so, we'll create a composable. So likewise, again, like because it's just the very beginning of us developing our website, we're creating a lot of directories. So we'll go ahead and create a composable directory. And these composables, we'll name it use settings. And we'll go with .ts, but no worries, like everything will look like plain JavaScript in this for now so far. So inside it, we can write our composable. So a composable is just a function. So go export const use settings. That's a function like this. And from here, like we need somehow to fetch data from Prismic. So remember at the beginning, the next starter from Prismic came with Prismic module that I showed you inside our packages, and that is missing. We don't have our packages, and oh no, it's here, my bad. Cool. So you can see we have the next Prismic module right here, and it's installed in our next application, inside the next config. We have Prismic here, and thanks to that, we have access to a lot of utilities from Prismic to fetch our content or to template it. And the first one that we want to learn together is the use Prismic composable. So we go to const Prismic equal use Prismic. And again, because it's Nuxt, everything is auto-imported, we don't have to import anything. So it goes const Prismic use Prismic. And what we want from this composable is to return data from Prismic. So as I said, I'm going to use Nuxt async data composable. So we go return use async data. Well, so it put up too many things. So just like go async again, async data like this. So we'll give it a key which we call like dollar settings. This is just a way for Nuxt to be able like to dedupe our calls. So we'll go with setting like this, and then we'll provide a function. And that function is meant to be responsible for fetching our data from Prismic. So just have a function like this and go with return. And here we extracted Prismic. And inside this Prismic object, we have a client object. And the client is what allows us to talk to Prismic API to get data from it. So we call a client. And from a client, we have plenty of methods, and we have a lot of getter methods. We can go like get all by every tag, by IDs, and so on and so on. Here we need to get our settings. And remember in Safe Machine, when we created our settings, we said we wanted a non-repeatable like settings custom type. So this means we can use get single, and then we need to provide it with our document type. So that's the API ID. So that's settings here, all lowercase. So go with settings. As you can see, it's all typed already by Prismic because next the client is aware of all the document type we have. So here it was suggesting a page or settings because that's the two document type we have in Prismic. So our settings here and our page here. So in our case, we go with settings like this. And well, that's pretty much everything we need here. So go just settings, and that's it. So we can save that. And the last thing we'll do from this composable is that actually like use async data returns a lot of things from us. So it returns like catch data, error, and so on, status, refresh function, and so on. In our case, we just need the data, so we'll stick with data here. And without much, we can save this composable, and we're done with it. So that means that now, if we get back to our header component here, we can close everything else. We can add a script section. So we use view free script setup. So go script setup, we'll keep the TypeScript language. Again, everything looks like plain JavaScript so far, so no worries. Once we get to the more TypeScript-oriented part, I will explain you more. For now, everything is just like JavaScript. And from here, we can again benefit of Nuxt auto import features. So we'll go call settings equal use settings. And without much, we now have our settings accessible here. So this, as you see, maybe not yet. Well, as you see, it gets our settings. So that means that if we get back to our page here and we just like print that, we can see like it's displaying our settings. Well, there's a lot of weird things that we're not familiar with yet. But as you can see, we have this site title showing up here, which says Florize, meta description. And we have also a bit like further, we might have navigation with the links to Prismic and the links to GitHub that we created together before. So sometimes with Nuxt, especially at the beginning of a project, your editor might get a bit confused, like it doesn't know yet of this auto imports. That's because we just created the directory together. So again, we just slap a quick restart to a Nuxt server here, and this should like fix everything and like let VS Code like catch up. So right, as you can see right now, it caught up. So it knows that like this is a settings document from Prismic, and everything is typed to help us really template without any headache. So now we'll get to do some like back and forth with Figma to like actually like template our header. So first of all, we can see we have like our little Florize logo here. So it's accessible maybe somewhere else on Figma. Yes, it's accessible here. We have a component. So what we can do, we can pick our logo here. And as you can see, it's like used right there, I assume. Yes, so it's using this. So what we can do, we can right click here, can click copy as, and we can copy as SVG. So now we have the SVG, and we can go back to our code. We can create a new component. We'll call this one logo.view. And here we'll just put like a template. And inside our template, we slap the SVG we copied from Figma, which is like a bit big, but that's really like a really quick way to get an SVG from Figma inside your code that is then usable across your application. So I can close that, and now inside my header, I can call my logo component. Again, all of that thanks to Nuxt auto imports. And here we go, we have a logo showing up. So now what else do we have to do? First of all, we can see like it's some kind of like it's constrained within like some kind of container. It will be the same for our footer. So maybe there's something like to win here. And if we look at our slices from before, we can see like a lot of them are actually like constrained with it within some boundaries. Like we have like boundaries here. We have like, again, like the same boundaries here, actually, like we have the same one. So this one looks like, if we go to dev mode, you can see like we have like 124 boundaries. Here it might be like the same. Actually, it's not the same. That's a bit weird. But we'll see. So basically, we need some kind of wrapper component or like bounded component, container component to contain our design within those boundaries. So maybe we see that better on our design here. Yes. So if we go here and click that, we have like 128. If we go back to something else, so for example, like our card here, we also have like 108. Oh, it's a bit moving every time. Yeah, there's something. But basically, we need some kind of container component. So let's work on that together for now. So we'll go back to our code, create a new component. We name it bounded.view. And here again, we just need like to define like some template first. So we'll go like script setup to get started. We'll go along TypeScript. We'll need some, that's because we'll need some props. Then we'll go to template. And a template here, what we'll do is like, well, because the container component, we still want some control over it. We won't render like a section right away, like our div. What we'll do is render a component. And this component, we'll name it like we'll say like it's a tag. So like we'll name like is, we'll go with as. And if there's no as, it will be a section. And where do we get as? Like we'll do that using like the define props helpers from Vue.js that allows us to define our props for that component. So prior to that, you might be familiar with like the way of defining props for an object. So like here is the example, like I want like an as prop, and it will be like a string, for example. What we can do in TypeScript, we can define those props using TypeScript interface. And to do so, we use this really like a funny opening tag here. And from here, we can declare some kind of an object to tell us that, well, we want an as prop. It's optional. So in TypeScript, it's like the question mark, so it's optional. And I'm going to say it's a string. So it looks like an object, but this is a TypeScript interface that says, well, we want our props, and we want maybe an as prop that is either a string or undefined. And from here, as you can see here, we have as available in our template that is a string or undefined. If you put, for example, like number here, well, it will freak out here maybe, but we can see it's not a string, a number, or undefined. For us, we'll just stick with string. So we have our component showing here, and then once we want inside it, we want to render our slot. So go slot. We save that. Going back to our header, this means we can now use our bounded component here. So go bounded. We can save that. So far, it's not doing anything. But what we can see if we inspect our HTML here, we can go here and see like it's rendering for a section. So that's where the as prop that we implemented together is going to be. And here we're going to go as, and here we want to be a header. So I can save, and you can see it's a header here inside our console. Cool. But well, like this is just like the component skeleton. What we want now is to be able like to constrain it. So let's do that. We'll go back to our bounded component here, and we'll start to add some Tailwind classes on it again. So first of all, we'll add like some class here, and what we say like we want some margin first, like to get started. So if we go to our Figma, to our component style, we can see here we have some margin here, we have 124, which is maybe a bit big. So what we'll do, yeah, well, maybe that's not bad, maybe that's perfect. So 124, so in Tailwind, everything is like multiple of 4. So what we'll do, we'll go back to our code here, and we'll start with maybe having like some kind of like gradient of size from mobile to desktop size. So we go back here, and we'll start, well, we'll say like, first of all, on mobile, we want like just px4, which is just like 16 pixels of padding here. Then we'll extend, and we'll say like, well, like maybe on middle screen, like we want to go up to like 6, which is like a bit more. It's like 24. And then on really large screen, we want to go, well, actually, well, we'll stick with that. So right now you can see it's a bit subtle, but we can go, and it should, yeah, you can see it's like getting smaller as we go to smaller screen size. Cool. We have the same issue on like vertical spacing. So we can do the same approach. We can see like, well, on mobile, we want like just like 10, which is like a 40 pixel. And then you want to go to something like even bigger on a medium size. So go like on middle size, we go like P, like 14, which is 14 times 4, which is 66 as it's displayed here. And then on large screen, we'll go like PY16. And now, if again we do like the same tricks, we can see like it's big, and it's getting smaller and smaller every time we go. So that's how we do responsive with Tailwind. So basically, we start our class, so like px is for padding on the x-axis, so like horizontal axis. We go like 4, which is like 16 pixel. And then we go up on medium screen. So that's like on like 768 and above. We'll go up to 24, and then and so on for every screen size we want to handle. Then we have the same wise like for like py, which is the vertical axis. So we start at 1040, then we go up to 56, and we go up to 16, which is for 64 pixel. Cool. But then like, well, our content's like not really centered for now. It's like just all like just constrained with like a really large padding, but there's no container around it. So let's create that container. So to do so, we'll just slap another div here. We'll have our slot in the middle, go back here one slot, and here again, we'll add some classes to this new div. So go class, And from here, we want our container. So we'll say like, we'll give it a max width. So go like max width 6 pixel. And then we'll say like, we want it like to be as large as possible. So we go like W auto. So those two classes together, they like W full is go like to go to like the full width. So we go like take as much space as possible. And then we have the max width 6 pixel that just like say, well, takes as much space as possible, but no more than 1152. And then to center that, just go like MX auto, which is a way to center a div horizontally in your document. And now you can see like we have a container. So like if we go to bigger screen size, it stays like no more than like 1100, and then it goes down slowly. And like the padding like slowly decreases as we reach like mobile sizes. Cool. So we're getting there with our error. So we can now get back to our header here and start working with our settings. So what we'll do here, we need to render our navigation. So if we go to settings here and take benefit of the auto completion from TypeScript, you can go to data.navigation. And this is our navigation. As you can see, we have like the link we add and the label for every item we added on Prismic earlier on. So if we go back here, we add like Prismic IO and GitHub, and we can see them here. So let's render them. And to render them, what we just need, just like some kind of basic loop. So we'll go and have a navigation. Inside it, we'll have like a UL. This UL, like this list, we need it to be like flexible, so like a display flex to that's run to like just like to display flex in Tailwind. And then we'll have like a list element. So go like li list item like this. And from here, we want to loop over it. So in Vue.js to loop, you might be familiar with it, but basically we'll use like v4. Go v4, go item of settings.data.navigation, what we had before. Here we go. So this should be fine. Here it just says, I think that it's missing a key. So we'll add a key. So go key and go with item.label. And here it will whine a bit because it's saying like, well, like it has to be defined and like a label can be null in Prismic. So that you can just say like, well, if there's no label, we'll just add like an empty string. And from here, inside it, we can like render a label, for example, just to have some kind of example. We go like item.label. And now if we save, we now have like Prismic and GitHub. Cool. So, well, but this is not a link yet. Because indeed, like if we go like and render a link, we can see like this funny structure from Prismic. So what we could do, we could just like do .link.url. But this is not like really the way to go. Like there's something like this is really the internal structure of a link of Prismic, and we don't really want to mess with it. So instead, what you can do, you can use Prismic link component that is here to help you render link coming from Prismic. So go Prismic link, we can close it. And what we can do here, we can give it our field. So go field, and we go like item.link. And this is rendering a link. And inside it, what we want a label, so item.label. And if I save that, we now have links here. So they don't appear as links because it's Tailwind, and like by default, Tailwind like don't like wipe all the default CSS of the browser. But as you can see in the bottom here, it's links. And so if I click on one, it's opening like GitHub in that case. Nice. Well, so it's still not looking like our design. So if we see like we want our logo on the left and our navigation on the right. So let's do that. So we have a logo here and our navigation here. So what we want to do is just like to wrap that with a div. So like div, we'll wrap all of that inside a div. And what we'll do here, we'll again add some Tailwind classes to control our style. So go like flex. So this will like display it as flex. Go like just some gap, because like this way in mobile it will be like all small and neat. So like this, we have a small gap 4. So like before it was like gap 0, so no gap. Gap 4, like 16 pixel of gap. And again, like with Tailwind, we can just like over everything and gives you like the number of pixels like it corresponds to. And this is because I have the Tailwind CSS extension installed on my VS Code. So I highly recommend you to install it. I should have said that earlier, but yeah, basically like this will just give you hints and like help you understand like what is available from Tailwind. So I go flex, gap 4. You can see like it's not really centered, so we can just say like items center. This will like perform the align item center. We'll go like justify between. This is to like have like the logo on the left and the navigation on the right. And what we'll say like on mobile and above, we'll want to be like display like on top of each other, and like on big screen, we just want like inline like this. So we'll go flex call. So like this is like on mobile, we want it to be like as a column like this. But like as soon as it's like bigger than like a mobile phone, we'll go like flex row to get back to this layout. Cool. There's one last thing we need to do is like to adjust like some kind of padding between those. So what we'll go, we can go here and see. So like the feature and like there's 30 pixels behind those. So what we can do, we can like eyeball that with Tailwind and say like, well, here with my link, I want to add some class and go like P4, for example. And this will give us like our padding on the left and right of our element while maintaining like big like clickable links for accessibility. Cool. Last thing we might want to do is like actually you saw like the padding I went with on my bounded components maybe a bit big. But here we have two choices. Like either we can like adapt it here, but this is adapting for like every component using the bounded component. And well, as you can see, like we tend to have like more big padding on top, like 96, as you can see here. So we'll stick with the bigger ones like by default. And for the header, what we'll do, we'll just say like, well, like for this one, actually, like let's just use custom padding. So go with the class here, and we'll say like, well, use the padding on the vertical axis of 4. And on the medium screen, you use like padding on the vertical axis of 6. And on the large screen, you use padding on the vertical axis of 8. And as you can see here, I use the question, the exclamation mark from Tailwind to say like, well, I want that to be important. So I want to override the style of the default component with that. And so this is what the exclamation mark does when you put that in front of a class in Tailwind. Just marks that importance that it's like registered in CSS and like allows you to override style from other components. You don't have to use that often, but in this case, it's relevant to use the important question mark here. And well, without much, we already have our hero working here. So great. Let's proceed to do our footer. Okay, so well, for our footers, the process is quite similar. As you can see, if we go back to our Figma here, like the style is pretty much the same. It's like the same layout. The only difference being that we have this little like copyright at the middle here. So what we'll do, we'll go to our file tree here. We'll just like duplicate our header component. We'll name it footer. And from here, what we can do, we can first of all like register it inside our layout. So we go back to our layout. And again, we take advantage of Nuxt auto import to just add our footer back here. Inside that, now I have like the same header and footer here because it's all like rendered. Well, we just copy pasted the component for now. So we'll just focus on our footer for now. First of all, we want it to be rendered as a footer, not a header. So go footer. Then we'll keep like the same constraint here. Actually, maybe we'll get rid of them because I think on the footer they're bigger. Let's check our Figma. So this is the components, but let's see on the website here. Actually, it's smaller, so it's more like a 0. So let's keep it like this. You can see it's on a plain white background, so we can add that first. So go footer and go like BG white. So BG white for like say like, wow, we want a background and we want it to be white in Tailwind. So we say that, and now see we have the background white. Yeah, and I guess the last thing we need to do, like it's the same thing like header footer with the navigation here and the logo. So we can keep it like this. And what we can do is just like in between the logo and the navigation, we need to add the copyright. So we'll go like a p tag, or like a small class on it. So we'll go like text access. So text access says like to put the text in like a smaller font size, like 12 pixel. And if we go check our Figma, I think that's the size here. So it's Nonito San and like 12 pixel. So let's go with that. So here we go. And we'll say, so well, here we need our copyright. So what does our copyright look like? It's like just like a C, the year, and the name of the website. So we can do that. So I go back here and I add like the copyright symbol, which you can do with an alt code, or I can like copy paste it here. And then we want to have the date, like the current like year. So to do that in Vue, you can just like interpolate like a new date and you go like get full year. Now we have the date showing up. And then we need our site title. And this is what we can use again our settings document. So we go like settings.data. And here you can see it's all like in third for us. So you can go like and check site title. And if I save here, we have Flora showing up. Cool. So our header and footer are done. The last thing we need to do is to go back to our template and to add our default SEO metadata for us. So to do so, we can spin up a script setup. We'll again use script with the lang TypeScript. And here we need again to import our settings. So go const settings equal use settings. So now we now have access from our settings managed by Prismic. And what we need to do is to use next use SEO meta composable. That is really like a nice helper that allows us to describe like our metadata. So we have like the title here. We can go like settings.value because like this is like a Vue reactive reference. And then you can go data and then you can go like site title. We can do the same with the description. So you go same like fashion, go settings.value.data.meta description. And finally, we have our image. So we can go like OG image in that case. And here, well, we have our image from Prismic. So what we could do like settings.value.data.og image. But the issue is that like, well, this is an image from Prismic. Like it's a Prismic image field. And we don't know much about it. So in order like to get the URL of our image, which is what we want here, what we can do is like to import Prismic as image src helper, which is used to extract the src of an image from Prismic image field. And we can import that either from Prismic client, or in our case, we'll import it from use Prismic. And here we have our as image src helper that we can use here to wrap our image and to extract the src from it. And now if I save that, we can now see it saying home page, but now if I refresh, I think it will still say home page because it's saying because of how we configure our website, but we should now have our meta description showing up somewhere perhaps. Yeah, so we have our meta description, normally assume there are dammit. And if we scroll down, we should find our meta image. That is, yeah, it is right here. So if we pick that link and open it, we should see next the funny guy we picked on Prismic. Okay, so that's all for this section. Before we wrap up, let's recap what we achieved. We created our first custom type within Slice Machine. We added content to it for the page builder. We fetched content from Prismic on our website using a Nuxt composable layer that is using like use Prismic from the Prismic module to fetch data from Prismic. And then we created our header, footer, and layout. All of that while working with Nuxt, benefiting from Nuxt auto imports and getting the hangs of a few things like styling our first thing with Tailwind and so on and so on. So great job. Next step, we'll continue to enhance our website by adding more unique features. But before that, let's commit our progress. So we can do that for the terminal here. So that means like we store per server and everything. What you can do if you're using VS Code here, we can just like go here and enter a commit message. So in our case, go like fit header and footer. And we can save that. And well, then it's like all committed and we're ready to carry on. Now that we have our layout built, let's move on to creating our home page. So again, here is the design of our home page in Figma. So we can see it's like made of a ton of website sections. And well, that's what most of our work will consist of today, like creating all those slices for our home page. But the best part about that is that once we build all those slices for our home page, we can use them on any other pages, like the feature page, the about page, or really any other page you might need on your website. And really like the best thing about that is that once we build like all those slices one slice at a time, this lets our editor determine in what order these slices go inside the page. So it gives them one to be before another and like reorganize these pages ways. They can really like tailor and craft their page on their own without the need of a developer. So first, we're going to head back to Slice Machine to start working on our own page. So we go here, we get back to full screen, and here we're in our custom types, but this time we want a page type. So we go to page type, and by default, because we started with the minimal starter, we already have a page type right here. So let's head inside it, and here we have a UI that's pretty similar to the one we had when we were crafting our settings type before. Except we now have two zones. We have the static zone, where we have our static fields that we used before, and the slice zone, that's where we have our slices, so like the website section that we allow our content writer to use on this kind of page. We'll get back to this slice zone soon, but first, let's just work a bit with static zone and add some fields to manage our SEO metadata. So as you can do, I can add more fields here, but just for sake of organizing things a bit better, I can create a tab. So to do so, I will click the plus button here. I will name it SEO, and I will have an SEO tab where I can manage everything related to SEO for this very page. So again, I have main, I have SEO, and if you click plus, you can add as many tabs as you want. Inside my SEO tab, I will add a few fields. So I'll start by adding a meta title, which will be a key text field, just like we did before. So meta title, key text field. We add another key text field, which will be our meta description. So we go meta description. And finally, we'll add a meta image field that will be the meta image of that page. So again, we click add new field, we pick image, and then we can enter meta image here to get our meta image. Once again, if you want to configure fields further, you can do so by clicking the little pencil here. And here on my meta image, I will have the same constraints that we did before, just so it's all consistent across my website. You can click done here, and we're done. So once we're done with our setting up our SEO tab here, with our meta title, meta description, and meta image, we can hit save and get back to the code. Now, because we started with a minimal starter, that page already exists within our code. So if I go back to my VS Code here, open the files, you can see I have an index file here that is already fetching data from Prismic and displaying them. However, if this was a new pages type that we're creating, you can quickly bootstrap this page by clicking the page snippet button here. That gives you a snippet that is really all similar to what we already have within our code here. Just great to know that. So, well, let's just explain a bit what's going on here. First of all, we're getting our data from Prismic using a similar method that we did for our settings. We're calling use Prismic to get the Prismic object. Then you're calling use async data to get our index page. And from that, we're just returning Prismic client get by UID. So again, the UID is what we configured before here. What was already configured for us before is the UID, which is a slug of our page. So we can get that from the, in that case of the home page, we don't need to get it, but in the case of a dynamic page, we get it from the router. So for now, we just want the page and the home page in our case. Great. Next, what we have here, let's just move on quickly to our template. We have this slice zone here. It's using this slice zone component. So this is what is responsible for rendering slices from this slice zone of our page type here. So to it, we provide it with our components, which are slice components going from the slices directory. And then we give it the page slices. And this component is basically just a fancy for loop that takes care of looping through the slices and rendering them correctly with the appropriate component. And finally, we have the use head call here. It's just really the default one that will refactor to make use of our new SEO field that we configured together. So we'll get rid of all of that and go with use SEO meta like we used before. We get again a title. So go with page.value.data.meta title. And well, just because this can default to null, we'll just make sure it defaults to undefined. So we'll go if there's nothing, we'll just say, well, let's just make sure we have an obvious undefined here. We'll do the same with the description. Go page.value.data.meta description. And again, we slap an obvious undefined in case it doesn't exist. And finally, our OG image, which again goes as page.value.data.meta image. And in that case, well, we can do two things. Either we can use again the same helper we use here as image30, or we can do the less unsafe .url to just get the URL. In our case, I think we'll just stick with the recommended method of using Prismic.as image src, and we'll go like this. And in case there's nothing, we'll just return undefined. Cool. So that's all for setting up our own page. We have everything working here. So we have our own page set up within Slice Machine and Prismic. What we can do, we can like just go here and push all of that to Prismic. On our code, we have our own page setup. It's running our SEO metadata with like the value from that page. And in case there's no value, we defaulting to undefined in order to default to the value defined in our layout. And then all of the slices of the website section that will get chosen on this page will get rendered for these slice and components provided by Prismic, so that now we can start working on our slice. So, well, this company is doing already a lot of things, but like we're already getting like really close to get started and like develop our first slices. So just before that, that's all for setting up our own page. So let's commit all of that again. So we go back to the Git tab on VS Code, and here we'll do like a fit home page to say that we added our own page to our website. All right, now that we've got our home page set up, we're adding our first slice. If you look at our Figma here, we have our pages, but we also have this slices tab. And here our designer put all the slices that we need to implement together. We'll start with the hero section. And so the hero section, you can see like there's two kinds of design for it. There's like the big and flashy one that we'll use on our own page, and the more like tuned down one that was on other pages. So we have two different designs, and we'll be able to handle both of them for one slice with a feature called variation, but we'll get to that later. So first we handle the hero, like the one that is centered on the home page. So to do so, let's head back to Slice Machine, and let's head to our page, and then here we can click on Add Slice. We can click Slice, I will create a new one, and this one I will name it Hero. Just like our plain really default hero slice, like most sites will have like a slice like that. So we have our hero slice created, we can head inside it here, and from here, we are templating our slice. So it's quite like similar to what we did on our settings page or page type so far, except we're now working on a slice. And what we see here, we have two kind of zone. We don't have like the static and the slice zone. We now have the non-repeatable zone and the repeatable zone. So what's the difference between those two zones? Well, it's quite straightforward. Like every field that we'll put in the non-repeatable zone will only appear once, whereas the field appearing in the repeatable zone will be able like to be repeated by content writers. So that's great if you want to, for example, have a list of links to feature, but we'll make use of that later on. For now, we'll only need to work on the repeatable zone. And from here, the game for us is to have a look at our Figma component and try to figure out like what field we want to have for this slice. So you can see we have like a big title, that will be a rich text field. Then we have a description, that will be another rich text field. Then we have a button. So we'll do quite the same technique we did like for the navigation. We'll have like one label and one link field. And finally, we have the image, which will be an image field. So let's work on that together. Let's start adding these fields in Slice Machine. First, we'll do the heading that we have right here. So going back to Slice Machine, on the non-repeatable zone, because we only want one heading, we can click Add New Field. We can click Rich Text this time because like we'll want an H1 tag. So we'll go here, name it Heading, and then we can click like the little crayon here to select like what kind of tag we want. So by default, like everything's checked on. We don't want anything of that. We just want an H1. So we can click Unselect All in H1 and click Save. And from here, if I click Save here, it will save my slice to the file system. You can see like it says like slice hero model.json. Indeed, if we now have a look at our code, we can see that it created like a model.json here file with inside it our heading field with a structured text. So I'm just showing that to you to show you that like everything you work on Slice Machine is versioned like locally, so that you can like save it within GitHub and like get back to it, like roll back if needed. Like all of that is like Git control workflow basically. So well, let's get back to Slice Machine and finish our templating. So as we said, we have a heading, but we also have like a description here. So like, well, we'll say like that's a body. So we'll add another rich text field. We name it body. This time we'll also configure it. We unselect everything. We'll just take like a paragraph and bold and italic because that's all we want to allow within this body text. Then let's do our button. So again, as I said, our button is two fields, like a label and a link. So let's do that. So we'll go add a field. We'll start with the text. We'll go like button text. with a key text field this time because we don't want anything like fancy inside it. And we'll also add the link with button link. And last but not least, we have the big image field here that we want to add. So we did that pretty like a few times already. So let's just add our image here and we'll name it image. And once we're done with that, we can save all of that and it's returned to the file system. And again, if we have a peek at our JSON file here, that is like the model definition that again, you don't need to know about. It's all managed as Slice Machine, allows you to version that to Git so that you don't lose your progress. Now we can start to actually build out the code portion of our slice. This is where Slice Machine really starts to make our lives easier. So going back to Slice Machine, we can click the Simulate button here. What this does is that it opens what we call the Slice Simulator at Prismic in a new tab that is responsible for rendering our slice in isolation alongside an editor here that allows us to configure mocks for it after the fields we just defined together. So as you can see here, we have an heading field that we can like write on, like I don't know, and we have the body, the button text, button links, like all the data we defined previously on the slice templating section here, and that we can like use to develop our slice. Going back to our code here, we can see it created for us a hero slice component. There's some boilerplate code in it, namely just like defining the props it's receiving, and then like just a really basic template, which is what we get to see here, like placeholder component for hero default slice here. And if I go back here and like edit this text example, I just like remove and like just add slice because it's just saying slice. But more interestingly, I can start and like just log like slice, for example, see the content of my slice. You can see here my heading, my body, and well, like those are all the data that this slice is receiving and like is responsible for templating. And from here, I can see like it starts to get a bit complex. For example, like my heading, which is just saying enjoy, is actually like an array with like some object and stuff like that. And this already might be like, well, like it's getting complex. Like I should do console log, like I just did here to see my data and like to figure like what's going on. But Slice Machine is here to help you navigate through all of that, so it can be all smooth. So let's just get that on the side, get Slice Machine here. And from here, we can get back to our code. Let's just get it a bit bigger. And Slice Machine here helps because it tells us like, well, like if you want to see your body, you can go like slice primary heading. And if I go here, I can do like slice primary.heading. And I go back to my simulator, you can see like we have a heading with like enjoy and like span and everything, just as described with Slice Machine. But more interestingly, if we want to render this heading component, we can do that thanks to snippets that are right here. So let's click on show code snippets. And this shows us like all the snippets we need to render all those fields inside our component with Vue.js. So let's just copy all of them for the sake of the exercise inside our code so we can see what this all looks like within the simulator. And here we go. So we have snippets for our heading, our body, our button text, our link, and our image. So I can save all of that and go back to the simulator here. And we can see like it's displaying like all my content now. We have like have fun, the body here, we have the button text, the link, and our image here. And the great thing from here is that we can start customizing all of that data within the editor that we have here. So we can say like have fun together. I don't know. You can like change the body, like if you want to make it longer, we can make it longer. If you want like another link, like a click me, for example, you can still link to Google. And if you want to change the image, you can like replace it and put, I don't know, like some fruits. And now we have some fruits being displayed within our slice. And really the great thing about that is that you don't have to look for data anywhere. It's all available right here. And you have snippets to help you like render all of that. So, well, let's just do a quick refactor before we move on. So like we have our button text here, but like, well, it's really next to the button, so it should be like displayed within the link. So I'll just move that right here inside our link. I can save that. And now we have like really our heading, our body, our button, and our image, which is already slowly looking like what we're supposed to be building within our slice from Figma here. The only thing here that you might have noticed, like there's no style, and that's the reason for that, because Tailwind by default like ships with like no style. Like, it has like a really comprehensive reset CSS that gets rid of all the default style from the browser, so like really responsible for handling anything style related. So, well, let's recap what we did in the past couple minutes. We created our first slice that's a huge milestone. So it's available here within Slice Machine. We added fields to it to match our Figma design. Then we brought the data into Slice Mesh, into our slice, thanks to Slice Machine and the code snippet. So thanks to all of that, we're able to display our data on the slice simulator, and we rendered the data coming from mocks that we can edit with the mock editor here and save them to a file system once we have like mocks that are like fitting our design, for example. So now that we got all of that set, let's bring in some style and let's actually like finish our hero component together. In the last section, we built out a very basic hero slice. In this section, we'll style our fields using Tailwind after designing Figma. So we already like played with our editor a bit for now. We'll get close it because we're running out of screen real estate. Get that a bit like to the middle bar. So we have like our code on this side and our slice preview here. And now if we look at our Figma, so what do we have? We have basically like two elements in our slice. Like we have the text part with the CTA here that will like need to be wrapped together because once we move on to this design, we'll need like all of that on the side and the image on the other one. And then we have our image. You have a huge gap between the two, so like we'll need to take care of that at one point. And then also like all our contents like constrained within like some kind of container. So we need to work on that. So well, actually we can start with a container. This is pretty straightforward. As we did before, we have like our bounded component now, so we can just slap it on our slice, and this will now like have a neat container like on it that will like constrain in size on bigger screens. And then from here, well, we can do what we did. So what we said we'd do. So we'll like wrap everything like text and button related here in a div, and then we'll wrap everything else in a div because like just to be able like to handle our layout later on. So we wrap all of that. So this doesn't change anything, but from here we can start like playing with like our layout. So we'll start working with Tailwind classes again. And on the outer div, what we want to do is like to like place every item in the center. So to do so, we can go like grid calls one. Just create like grids with one column. And I say like just place item center. Go like place item center. If I save that, it's already like constrained on my items in the center, but we'll get that like further. So now in our like inner div that contains all the text, what we want to say, like we want to say, well, get all the text in the center. So go like flex call item center. So it gets all the items centered correctly, and then text center to center the text. And now all the text is centered a bit like on our Figma design here. Next step, what we need to do is like our image here is too big. On our Figma design, you can see like it's smaller than our container to have here. So it's not like 900 pixel wide. So we'll get that with Tailwind here. So we go like class and go like something like max width for Excel and like width full to make sure like it's full when like we have a small image. And one thing we also need to do, like, well, we don't have it here right now, but on our design here, we have like some kind of drop shadow on our image. So we can do that with Tailwind because Tailwind really has a class for everything. So you can go like drop shadow Excel, and now we have a shadow on our image. Cool. Now we need to handle like spacing a bit within all our text elements here. So we'll go that. So on the Prismic text here, we add a class, and we'll say, well, we want like a 4 margin bottom. So again, you can hover everything with Tailwind if you have the Tailwind extension on VS Code. To select, well, like this is 16 pixel. And then we can select, well, that's on mobile because like on like medium screen and higher, actually like want MB8. So that's what we'll get for now, MB8, like this. We carry on with our body. So for our body, we'll do again a class. And so this time we'll say like MB. We'll say like MB4. Again, same thing. And I think we'll go also with MB8. So actually we can just copy paste all of that because we want like the same kind of spacing. Cool. And last but not least, like the link. This one, like we need like a bigger spacing as it's like displayed in our Figma file here. So we need a bigger spacing. So this time we'll go with again a class, except that on mobile we'll go like MB8, and on medium and higher goes like MB10. And now, well, small typo here, MB10, and now it's bigger. Cool. So now we need to make our text look like what it's supposed to look like. So we'll focus first on our body here. So what we can do We can pull out our Figma here. We can go to the editor mode and you can see like a bit like what our text is made of. So it's no need to send 24 pixel, normal, 400, like no bold whatsoever, 98, 120, 166. So we can go to our Prismic Rich text here and add some more classes to it. We go text to Excel, which is 24 pixel, which is what we have here. And text to Excel is 24 pixel. And then what we can do, we can select font normal, which is like no bold whatsoever. We're like leading 10, which is 40 pixel as we have here. And what else should we do? Well, yes, and lastly, we need to add our font. So we go like font body. So we go like this, and now we should have like our text looking a bit like what we have on Figma. And that one last thing, we need to add like our color. So or like theme slate 600, and that's what we need to add from Tailwind. So here to color our text in Tailwind, again we have a class for that. Go like text slate 600, and now we have some kind of like this like a light grayish, like a light dark color on our text. Yeah. So two more things we need to do. We need to do our button and our rich text. So our button and our rich text, as you can see on Figma, like those are like some kind of components. So if we go to components and style, we have, well, our button is not here, but we'll make some kind of component for it. And you have like all those text style, like mainly for the H1, H2, H3, and maybe the body. So what we can do for that is that we can create some like component classes for it. And to do so, we'll just like create a CSS file in Nuxt.js. So we can go inside our code and we can create a quick CSS file. So we'll go inside here, create, no, not inside our here, sorry. We'll go at the root of our project and we'll go create an assets folder. And inside it, we want a style.css file. So this style.css file, Nuxt doesn't know about it. So we just need to tell Nuxt, well, actually, like, please like close this style.css file. So we go inside our Nuxt config here and inside our CSS assets array, where we already added our fonts. We also add our own CSS file. So go like this and go assets /style.css. And now this will load our style.css. So because we updated our config, Nuxt needs to restart. And what this will do is that it might break the link with our simulator here. So to just resolve the link, just give a refresh to the page. And now we'll see again our slice being rendered here. Cool. And now within our style.css file, we can start adding style to it. So, well, what I like to do is basically, as you saw here, we have multiple headings that we want to use within our application. So we have like Florize, like H1, H2, H3, and maybe there's like a small one. So maybe it's this one. Well, I'm not sure. Well, let's go with H1, H2, H3, and let's start adding our heading. So to do so, we'll do like first a heading class. And to it, we'll add the base style to it that we need for our headings. So we have our headings here. I can see like H1. It's like, first of all, it's bold. It's Nunito, not Nunito San. And like that's the same for all the heading. So we can start and work on that. So we go here and say like add apply font bold because all our headings are bold. We go like leading tight because that's, well, that's maybe not the right one. Well, let's go with leading tight. I should write out this one. Tracking tight. This is to just like launch like the spacing within the text. We can add that to like just make the text a bit like more dense. Then we go like font display. Display, which is our is it this one? No, it's heading in our case. Yeah, font heading to have like our heading font. And then we'll like the text. So it's not reference here, but I think it's like text slate 700. And now if I save that and get back to my heading here, I can add this class to it. And we start to resemble what our heading is supposed to look like. So we have like a font together. You can see like it's a different font. Now we just need to make it bigger and maybe like have some kind of like gradient of size again to make it like smaller on small screen. And to do so, just define like some kind of variant for our heading. So go like heading Excel. And we'll see like how to apply text 5XL. So that's on mobile, we want text 5XL. And on medium and higher, we want text 7XL. which here is like 72, which is, well, 5 pixel is maybe, oh, okay, that's not what we have here. Let's just check our heading size. Maybe it's different. Yeah. So on our heading size, we have 72, which is for the Excel heading. And on mobile, it should be smaller. So we have what we have here. So we have 48, which is 5 pixel. So that's for the heading Excel. And I think the three other ones here like will be headings that we'll use across our application like more consistently. So we'll define another kind of heading. We'll go like heading LG. And this time we might do like some kind of 48, I don't know. Yeah, this one is 48. So this will be the H2. Or there's going to be something that mishappened with our designer here, no biggies. So go like 5 pixel and 4 pixel. But another one that will be like MD for like medium headings. So this one will be H3, so like it's 40. So this time like 40 is, yeah, well, is it 40? Yes, 40. Okay, so we'll go with 4 pixel and 3 pixel. And well, just to continue on the gradient of heading, we'll go like with a heading S small, we go like 2 and 3. Like 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 7. And that's like our gradient of heading that we'll be able to use within our application to develop our slices. Great. So now going back to our slice here, we added like the heading class, but now we can add like the heading Excel class here from our style sheet inside our file. So we go heading, we slap it here, and now we have the add fun together heading. Cool. So the last thing we need to do is to do our button, and with the same technique. We just like create a slice that is like a composite of Tailwind classes inside it. So go back to our style sheet. We have like a dot button class, and inside it we'll apply Tailwind classes to it. So this time we'll say, well, our button is a block. Its width is like fit, so like it fits the content. So like that's the property we see here, like width fits content. We'll do like the, what's the color of our button in Tailwind? Oh, it's cyan for sure. Can we have more information? No, it's just cyan like this. So what we'll do like BG cyan. I think that's 700. I know that because Alex worked on the design of this Figma file, like use the Tailwind palette to get the color. So like that's definitely a Tailwind color. So I think that's it. You can see it like looks the same. Cool. There's maybe a over style, but well, let's just add one for fun. So go like over, which is the way in Tailwind, like you say, like when you do like over like this, say like, well, on over, apply a class to it. So go like over cyan 800. I can go here and can see, say like, well, once something is on over and has this class, then we apply this style to it. That's what we're doing here. Yeah. And so, well, we need to add a few more classes to it, so let's make that bigger. Well, we do like a transition to it, so like transition colors. We'll like do like a duration of like 200 milliseconds, like it's really fast, or like a easing to it, like easing in and out. And then we need to like the padding, so we have a button here. And we can see like we have 12, so like 12 divided by 4, that's 3. So like we need like to add like a horizontal padding of 3, so like py 3. And for the horizontal ones, like 39, so we'll round it to 36, like we'll px 12. But again, if we want like our design to be pixel perfect, as we can do, we can just say like, well, we want like a custom class to like px 39 pixel, for example. And now what else we might want to do? Yeah, we need to fix the font. So well, you can see it's using like the Nunito font. So we'll go again with a font heading. And then, well, that's pretty much it, I think. Well, no, we might need to, well, let's just save that and see where we are. So we save that, we add the button class to our link. And well, you can see, okay, so we're missing like the roundness. So we'll do that. So we'll go like here and like we'll do like a rounded full. So that's to like just like get a rounded button. Then we'll do like text white to get like a white text. And finally, I'll also do like text bold. So we go font bold and like tracking wider to just have something like more like bigger in terms of size. You can see like without tracking wider, it looks like this. With tracking wider, it's a bit more legible because like it's bold text with bold and like with a font that is not meant to be used like for text, so like with a wider tracking, we'll make it more visible and accessible to our users. And that much, I think we're pretty much done with our heading here, as you can see. So it looks like our heading, feels like our heading, tastes like our heading, and that's our hero component for us to use. Oh, but one thing I forgot to do is like, well, when you have a look at our design here, like the body is constrained like to an narrow container. So we can do that quickly, like no worries. So we can just go back to our code. We have our second Prismic rich text that is responsible for rendering our body. And from here, I can do like max width LG, for example, that will constrain our body within like a narrow container, just like we have here. Nice. Now that we have our slice styled and saved, we're ready to use it on Prismic and get our first taste of the page builder. But before that, we're going to get an image for each of our slices by exporting them from Figma so we can upload them right here. Because Prismic let us use this thumbnail in the page builder so that content editors can see what the slice looks like before they select it. So let's go back to Figma. And on this slices page here, like be sure to untick dev mode if you're inside it. You can go like to the first hero slice for the first hero variation here. You can select the component, and by holding Alt and like dragging it outside of the viewport of the current hero, we can get here like this just like blend hero component here. And what we can do to get a screenshot of it, we can just add a white background to it by clicking the plus on the fill here. And from here, I can say, I want to export it as a PNG and save it on my desktop. So what we'll do that for each of our slices here. So that's all, we have screenshots for all of them and we're ready to upload them as we like develop them together. So let's do that together. So I'll do the same for the like variation here. So I can drag it here, add a background. Same for like the text with image. So again, I drag them, add a background, drag it, add a background. The same for the feature one, drag it here, add a background. For the testimonial slices, add a background. And finally for the CTA one here, drag it, add a background. So sometimes your designer might do that for you. Here it wasn't the case, so well, we have to do it on our own, but as you can see, it's like pretty fast to do. And from here, we have all our slices. We can like select all of that and go to the export option at the end here. And this will allow us to export all these 7 layers at once. So you can click export layer. This prompts me for where I want to save them. So I can just save them on the desktop here. And well, here we go. I have all my slices on the desktop now. And I can go back to Slice Machine. And here I can click upload screenshot, select file. I will go to my desktop here. And I can pick the hero one, which I think is the one we want. Here we go. And so if we go back here, it should have uploaded. Here we go. Well, all right. Small glitches happen, but well, here we go. We are at it. So cool. So we have the slice saved here. We don't need to do anything else. And if we go to the changes tab, we can hit push changes to push our size to Prismic. But here we can see that our page has been modified. So what happened is that because we clicked add slice from here and created a new slice from the error page, Prismic automatically knew that we wanted to add this slice to the slice zone of this page type. But the great thing about slice is that now if I want to use this slice on other page type, we can do so. And like this page will be reused across all different pages that types that we want to create, allowing our content writer to reuse it across different pages. Because maybe for now we only have like a page type, but maybe at one point we'll have like a blog post page and maybe, I don't know, like a landing page type, all of that. So, well, we're ready here. You can go back to the changes tab. It might prompt you to log in again if it's been a while since you haven't logged in, but well, for me it's all good here. I can click push changes and this will push everything to Prismic. Okay, so now that everything is pushed to Prismic, we can add to the page builder. So I can get back to my tab here. Alternatively, you can just click the little like open a new tab button here. That will get you to your dashboard on Prismic. So from here, we'll update our home page, which was already created by our minimal starter. And inside it, well, we had the default content we had so far. So we had the default rich text slice. that we can get rid of by just clicking like the little like kebab dot here, kebab menu to delete it. And then we can add a slice. And from here, you can see we have our hero slice here, like with the default variation. So we can add it. And from here, we can input content inside it. So let's input a content from Figma. So we add productivity as flows with your life. So let's get to the dev mode, select that text. And here I have like the content that you can copy, can get back to Prismic, paste it here, productivity that flows. And we want to add like a non-breaking space with your life. Then for the body, we add an issue potential. So again, you can click that, copy it from Figma, get back to Prismic, paste it here. For the button, text was trade for free, or try for free. Button link will stick with like a link to the web for just to say, go to Prismic. And for the image here, well, let's export our image from Figma. So on the Figma design here, we have component style and assets. And here we can find our dashboard. So we can click that. And I can click on the dev mode. Here we have the assets. And we can say, well, I want to export it. I want to export the source image file. And this gives us our image here that I can like just drag and drop on my desktop. And from here, I can go back to Prismic, select an image, upload media, and I will take the one here that is on my desktop. Now it's uploaded, I can take it here. And without much, if I were to save my custom type here, publish it. And now if I go back to my Nuxt dev server this time here, can hit refresh, and we should see our hero showing inside our page. Great. Now let's create a slightly different version of our hero slice. Prismic variation features makes it easy for marketer to select a different style of the same slice, and you can create them in Size Machine. So if we look at our Figma file here, again, going back to the slices page, we have our hero component here for the default hero. But as I've been saying a bit, like, well, this is a variation of our hero, like it's another version of it. And the only real difference is that it's, instead of like being like stacked like vertically, like it's stacked horizontally now with like the text on the left and the image on the right. So, well, let's see how we can create that in Size Machine. Let's create this horizontal layout inside Size Machine. Now to do so, I can go back to Size Machine. So if you're on the Changes tab, you can hit the Slices tab. We'll pick our hero here, and at the top here, you have this little drop-down that is like our variation drop-down. So by default, I only have one default variation, but I will add a new variation, and I will call it horizontal. Like this. So it creates like that's the name, that's the ID of the variation, and it tells me like, well, like duplicate from the default variation. And what this does is that when I create the variation, I'm on the horizontal variation now, and it has duplicated all the same field from our default variation. And the great thing about variation that you can like vary fields inside them. So if, for example, like inside the horizontal variation, we want to add like 2 images, I can go and click add a new field, pick image, I'll name it like image2, save it. And now on my horizontal variation, I have 2 image fields, whereas on the default one, I only have 1. So getting back to my horizontal variation, I will delete this new image field because I don't need it. In this case, we need like just the same set of fields. I can hit save. This saved my slice. What we can do already is upload our screenshot because like we just pick them together. So I click upload screenshot, select a file. This time it will be the hero slice here. Here we go. And so now if I switch, you can see like I have like the default screenshot for the default variation and the horizontal screenshot for the horizontal variation. And now we can go back to the simulator also. And so, well, what we'll do now is we'll update our template so that like the horizontal variation looks like what it's supposed to look like from our Figma file. So to do so, well, let's see what we're doing in our Figma. So really we're switching from like a vertical layout to a horizontal layout. And to do so, well, we can like perform some update. But first of all, like how do we know what variation we're on? Well, Prismic gets us this really neat data on our size, which is called like size.variation, which as you can see tells us what variation we're on. So these are like default or horizontal, and we can use that to know what variation we're on. So for example, if I like a quick like p tag here, and I say like this is the horizontal variation, And I add like a if statement here to say like, well, like only on that kind of variation, to go like slice.variation equal, I'll say horizontal. If I save that and get back to the simulator here, well, you already saw it, I think, but you can see it say like, this is the horizontal variation. And if I go back to the default one, we don't have this is the horizontal variation anymore. Great. So, well, let's update our code here to reflect our new variation. And the main thing we need to do here is really to tinker with our div stack so that like the items are placed differently. And so we can do so with Vue.js by just adding like a vbinded class, a vbound class, like this. And from here, like I can like create like a new object, like to bind class like conditionally to this div. So I'll go like, let's say like on medium, like on my horizontal variation, need to be like in a 2-column layout. And this will only need to happen on medium size or bigger, because like in mobile, we need to switch back to like a default layout. So I go md grid calls 2, which equals to like saying like that on medium screen and higher, we switch to a grid template with 2 columns. And here, I would just say the same thing we said here, actually just slice variation equal horizontal. And if I remove our return like p example here, I can save that. And now you can see we're already like getting closer to what we want. Next, we also need to update this one, because as you can see on Figma, when we're on this variation, like the text is like aligned on the left. So we need to get that alignment back. And to do so, we'll need to get rid a bit of those like item center, text center. We'll apply them conditionally if it's the default variation. And so to do so, again, we just like do a bit of alignment, and we'll do this time a class. This is an object. We apply those classes here. And what we do, we just do that if we are on the default variation. And so as you can see here, it's updated, it's all like aligned on the left. And going back here, what we can do is, maybe adding like a bit like a longer text to our mock, so that like it looks more like what we have in the design. And we'll go like try for free. And well, like we're pretty happy with that. If we want, we can also like replace the image. Let's take a fruit, avocado, like this. And well, we can save our mocks, and we're happy with that. So now what's left for us to do, going back to Slice Machine like editor here, we can like push that to Prismic. So we already added our screenshot here earlier on. It's all saved. We can go back to the changes tab. You can now see like our hero slice has been modified because it now has 2 variations. I can click push changes to Prismic, and we're pretty much done here. So it pushes to Prismic. If I go back to the page builder here, you can now see that when I want to add a new slice, I have like two variations showing up here. So I can add another one if I want to, and start like tinkering out with my slice. But we'll stick with the with what we have for now. So I'll just delete like the second variation. Hit save again. And so, great. Like that's wonderful. We just added a new variation to our slice. Variation is super powerful for everyone on the team. They allow designers and developers a few options to their content team, and they empower marketers to build many different pages that stays on brand. So that concluded building our first slice from scratch. Well, great. Congratulations, you get it this far. So let's commit our progress before we move on to making another slice. So I can again go back to VS Code to the source control tab. Here I can put like a little commit message, so like fit your slice. I hit the little like check mark here, and this all commits everything to my Git repository here. Cool. Now that we have our first slice and variation completed, let's move on and build our next slice. So if we go back to our Figma and check out our slices here, the next one I'm gonna build is this featured slice right here. And well, we can see there's something a bit like different on this slice. There's this repetition of little like article here about like with an image, a title, and a description. And well, let's see how we can handle that with Slice Machine. So I will go back to Slice Machine. I will go to our page type, pages, add a new slice, create from scratch. And here I will call this slice features. And so, well, let's have a look at our Figma and see how we can handle that. So first of all, we have a title, like we have a heading here. So we can do this heading. So let's get to our slice here. I'll go to like features and we'll add our heading. So I'll go like rich text. I'll name it heading. And this time I will only allow H2s here. I can click save. And now for our little friends here, like the little article. So how do we handle them? Well, we have two choices. Like one option would be like to just like add 4 times like 4 headings, 4 subheadings, 4 sub description, and 4 images. But this is not really like convenient for us and doesn't give any flexibility to a content writer in the case they want to add more icons. Like maybe they want to add 8 of them. Maybe they want to have only 2. So to do so, what we can do is to leverage the repeatable zone that we have right here. And basically, the repeatable zone will allow content writer to repeat those elements as many times as they want inside these slices. So let's think about like this content modeling here. So how do we model this little like scheduling card here? Well, first of all, we'll add another heading. So we can go here, click rich text. So this time I clicked, just to show it again, I clicked add new field on the repeatable zone. So I go here, rich text. I will call this one title, just to, because it's not like the heading of a section, just like a title of a card. I will unselect everything, only allow H3s. Then I will do like the description here. So again, I will add a rich text field for that, another rich text field. I'll call this one description. And finally, we have this icon here. So you see icon and they're like a bit fancier, not like just like regular icon, and by thinking, well, like this is an image. And well, you're right. Like we could handle that for an image. However, like because like those are like really like special icon, like they're like on brand, they're like really like they're like fluorized icons, not like just like any image that can go there. So what we can do to handle them is instead of having an image, we'll have a select field that will allow us to decide which icon to display within our code. So we can go to add field, click select here, and we'll name this one icon. So I'll drag it to the top just to have like the same order as we have here. And now I can click like the little crayon here and add options for our select field. So as you can see, we have like a few here. So we'll start with like calendar, because that's our calendar, the first one. Then we have the bar graph, so go with bar graph. Then you have the little like clover element here. So I'll go again with clover. And finally, we have the hourglass or like infinite symbol here. So we'll go with hourglass. So we have calendar, bar graph, clover, and hourglass. And I can click done. And just so that it clicks a bit more, like I will save my slice here and click the simulate button, and you'll see what the repeatable zone looks like in the editor here. So you can see I have flame here showing up, and then I have my repeatable zone. And you can see it defaults with bar graph, examine, and like some text. And I can add as many items as I want here. So I can go with calendar, heading, spring, and I can have another one, and so on and so on. So we'll play with that in a few. Just one thing I noticed that we might like need to do is go back to our slice modeling here, and I'll go update my icon again. And there's this like really useful checkbox here that we can check that is use first value as default calendar. So I check that. And this will allow just our code here to start with the calendar by default. So if I refresh the page and go back here, if I add another item, well, I haven't saved, so we'll save and go back here again and refresh. You see nothing. So if I go back and click another item, you can see now it defaults to calendar. So it's a bit more convenient for a content writer to move on. Cool. So we modeled our size here. And now we can move on to templating it and have something that looks like this, because for now we only have the default placeholder size. So let's do that. If we head back to our code here, well, let's put it on the side as we used to on the beginning. We'll shrink a bit the simulator, just like our tiny preview here. We can close everything and see that like Size Machine has created for us a new features directory here. And inside it we have our default code with the default like placeholder component that we're seeing here. So we can get rid of that and start like templating our size. Well, actually, let's keep it, but we can start templating our size. So, well, we'll use the same trick as before. So to get started, like we'll add our bounded component, which will do like the little like containerization over it. Then we can like expand it a bit here, because what we'll do is use the same trick as before, which shows the code snippets for our text, so we can like use it. So I'll click like copy code snippets from like our heading, so I can add it here easily. And then what we'll do a little content loop here. So well, for our current like to loop over, again, we can show the code snippets. We'll have like some like helpers for us, but we need to do the loop first. So we'll do with a div here. We'll do like a v4 and we'll loop over item of slice.items. This is how you can access as the this is how you can access the repeatable section of your slice. And then we just need to add a key. So we'll key and go with item.icon. And if there's no icon, just like default to an empty string. And from here, we can like log our item to just see what we have. Like this. Going back to the simulator here, you can see we have like a first item, which is an icon hourglass with some title and the description. And then we have another one, which is empty. So, well, from here, we can do our templating. So first of all, there's one thing I want to show you, is that for now, we've been using Prismic rich text to display our heading. So what we can do instead, we can use just like Prismic text, which will display also our heading, as you can see here. The only difference being that for now, it will display it inside a plain div, so a div flame. So to display it inside an h2, as we want here, we can go here and say wrapper equal h2. And if I save that, you can now see it's displayed within an h2. Cool. Now we'll do our style on it, so we can leverage the same technique as before. So remember, we created together a few classes to handle our heading style like easier, and same for a button. So we can go back here and apply our class. So we'll go heading for our heading class, which will go to like bold and everything. Then we go heading -md, which gets it like this. And finally, we can do like we'll do some padding underneath. So we'll go like mb12, and then go text center to center it. Like this. So now we have our heading done, which should look a bit like what we have in Figma here with robust features. Cool. Now let's focus on templating our section here. So what I will do first is just like add a bit more like icons here. So I'll go like with the calendar by default, then we have the bar graphs, then we'll go with the clover, and finally we'll go with the hourglass. Then we'll add for a few headings. So we'll go with examine, search, contain, protect. Here we go. We'll pass the same like description here. And what I can do, I can click Save Mock, get rid of the editor, and we can see we have like way more content now to display within our items. So using that, we can go back to Size Machine, and we can like start like using the snippets from here. So I can copy the icon, which will just show me the icon. I can copy the title like this. I can copy the description again. Here we go. And if I save that and get back to the simulator, you can see we have something that looks a bit more close to what we want. So for the title, we'll use the same trick as we did on the heading here. So we get rid of the rich, and I will just display it as a Prismic text. I'll display it as an h3. So we'll use wrapper h3. And I will apply my class also on it. So I go class, and this time I'll go heading -small. And then I will say like, well, on this one, I think like the font needs to be like a bit lighter. So if I were to save it like this, you can see like it's like a really bold font. So I go like font medium to use like a medium version of our font. And again, here I'm using the exclamation mark at the beginning to force Tailwind to mark this class as important, as you can see right here. So, well, what else we need? Well, we need some padding underneath, like to separate our heading, our title from our paragraph. So we'll go with PB3. Here we go. And so we have our padding, and now we just need like to display it as like a card on this side. So to do so, I can, well, right now I'm just like looping over it. So I'll wrap all of that within another div. Here we go. So I can bring my div here. I go class, and this time it will be grid. So we'll say that by default it's like this on mobile. On small screen, it will be like a grid with 2 columns, so grid calls 2. And on large screen layer, we'll go with grid calls 4. Because as you can see on our Figma, this design like gets like to a little like horizontal, vertical layout once on mobile. So we'll go like 2 columns on like tablets and like 4 columns on desktop. So going back here, saving that, we already have something that looks great here. What else we can do? We need some padding, like some gap between each of those elements. So as you can see, like it's not like there's like 30 pixels of gap. So we can do so with by adding like gap x8, which tells like Tailwind to like add a gap on the x-axis. What else do we have? It's also like a bit more constrained than our containers. You can see here, it's like a container is like 108 pixels, like it's constrained a bit more. So we can see like this wall size of that. I assume if I go to the frame here, you can see like it's more like 1000 pixel wide. So to do so here, we can go here and add a class again. So we'll go with max width 5 pixel, which is about like 1000 pixel. We'll also like add a gap like vertical in case we have more items. So if I go here and add like another item with like heading, you can see like it's like really like stacked on top of each other. So I go like another gap. So we'll go like a gap on the y-axis. So I go y12, and this way like we have a nicer gap in it. So we just get rid of this new element because we don't want it for now. So here we go. What else do we need to do? Let's have a look at our Figma. Yeah, we need to handle this style on our description here. So let's do that. So I will go like on my Prismic rich text that handles the string of the description. I will add some class to it. And this time we'll say like a text base from like the base style or font medium. Well, the font body is like that's the new Nito Sun that is like more legible. So if I save it, you can see it's a bit better like to read. And then I will do like text slate 600 to have like the little like grayish slate color that we have here. Cool. Starting to look a bit like our design. What else we need to do? Yeah, we might need to, is there like some kind of card? No, there's no some kind of card. So let's get back here. We have our grid equals 2. We have the max width. Might want to center it horizontally because indeed, like as you can see here, it's like centered on the left. So go like MX auto. Like this, now it's centered. We'll like place everything centered, like in case we have like a really long one, for example. Just that it looks better, as you can see here. In case we have a long one, what we'll do, we call SM place items start. So like it looks great on desktop, but like on mobile screen, we want it like to place item center. Like this will look better. So place item center. And this means that like if I go to like a mobile layout, so if I go like for example like 480, it's not placed like the way we want it to be. So let's go back to this layout, like more desktop layout. Here we go. We need to tinker a bit our card. So we'll go like class, we're like a max width access to like have them like not being that big in case like we're missing one. Because right now basically like I haven't saved here, and if I remove one, oh no, it's a grid call, it's a grid layout, so it will be like this. So we'll keep it like this. We'll add like a grid on this layer so like it's displayed like as a column correctly. So go grid, go SM place item start. On mobile, go place items center. On mobile, go is text center. And on IR, go like text left. The reason I'm doing that is that as you can see on our design here, on mobile, like everything is centered in like this. And so on size machine here, I can update the width, or I can use like this little drop down to get to mobile. You can see now it's like all centered in the center. Well, it's all centered basically. Cool. Getting back to desktop, what we need to handle still is our icon. So how can we do that? As I said, like we're not using images here. We're using, we just have a string coming from Prismic. And so what this means that we can use this string to render the correct icon. So to do so, we'll like get a bit more real estate on VS Code. I'll create a new component and I will call it icon. So go like icon.view. And from here, I can go like add a template. And here we'll pass our SVG for our icon. Now go again a script setup with a long TypeScript. And here we'll define our props. So go like define props. Again, we'll use like the little like opening tag here to add our TypeScript interface because we're doing our types in TypeScript for our props. And here I can just like open a new object and I will say like what is like the shape that I expect from my prop. So what I really want here is the name of the icon. So we'll add name. And what you can do in TypeScript is say like, well, we want name and it's a string. So TypeScript will be happy with that. But in that case, we cannot accept every string. We have a calendar, bar graph, clover, hourglass, and we won't have anything else. So what we can do instead, we can go here and say like calendar with a string, or like the little like pipe here is like to say or in TypeScript, so or bar graph, or clover, or hourglass. And if I save that, now I can have like my name. You can see it's like either calendar, bar graph, clover, or hourglass, and this will allow us to say which icon we want to use. So here I'll just like say like I just had a div for now, and it's like show name. And this will allow us to get back to our component here for a slice and to apply our icon here. So I have my icon, and from this icon, well, I'll just like slap it inside a div. I'll say like if we have an icon, so if item.icon. And here we'll add like our icon with the name. So we'll v-bind the name. I'll be like item.icon. We can auto close that. Here I'll just add like a small padding underneath. So as you can see like on Figma, like we had some padding between that. So we can go back here and go class, margin bottom 5 to add our padding. And now we need to render our icons. So getting back to the icon component we just created here, what we can do is fetch our icons from Figma. So going back to Figma here, we have our size and we have our icons. They might be, yes, they are available here on the component style and assets page. And from here, what I can do, I can select my icon, I can right-click it and click copy as SVG. So I copy that, go back to my icon template, I will paste the SVG, and that's the SVG of the calendar. So if I save it here, you can see it's all like calendar-ish. And well, cool, but that's not what we want. So what we can do here, just saying like a vif, and say vif name equal calendar. And now we only have a calendar showing up. And now we can carry on and do that with the other icons. So I go like with the bar graph, I right-click it, copy as SVG, go back to my component, paste it. I can save to get like the formatting from ESLint. And here I go vif. Well, I can go also like the else if in view in that case. And we'll say the else if name equal bar graph. So go, we are halfway there. So I can go the clover now. Again, right click, copy as SVG. Going back to our component, paste it, save it, and add the else if statement. Name equal clover. And finally, the last one, the hourglass. Again, right click, copy as SVG, go back to our component, paste it, save it, and finally we'll go like a else if name equal hourglass. You can see it was the last one that was suggested to us. Also, that's all thanks to TypeScript basically. And here we go. We have our little like a new feature slice ready to work on Prismic. We're finished with the templating. It should look like our slice now. So as you can see here, we have like the same layout. Oh, actually, well, no, it's like not looking like it yet. We have forgotten like some things, I think, on the description. Let's just check. Description, you have this, and so what we might want to do is add some kind of leading 6. No, well, go leading, and we'll go like leading relaxed, well, maybe loose. And this might look a bit more like what we have on Figma here. So we have like a really high leading, and that's what we have here. Our component also like looks great on mobile now. And I think on tablet, it should be, well, not here on tablet, but maybe on like, if you go like to some kind of small layout, you can see it's like all like stacked like this. Cool. Go back to desktop. So we're happy with it. We can save our mocks if it wasn't done already. We can close that, get back to Slice Machine, so we can update our screenshot. So remember, we extracted our screenshots from Figma earlier before together. So we can pick our feature one here. It's uploaded. We can save it here. We can go back to our Change tab. And from our Change tab here, well, you can see again, our page has been modified. So it's now featuring our feature size. And we have a new feature size here. And so what we can do, we can hit push to Prismic. And this will make the slices available on Prismic. So again, like going back to our page builder on Prismic tab here. Now I can refresh to just get the new data. You can see I have now the feature size available here for us to play with in Prismic. And so, well, we're pretty much done with our feature size. So what's safe for us to do is to commit it to our Git repository. So go fit feature size. I can save that. And well, that's it. So we made a feature size, and we just learned about how to use the repeatable zone inside slices. Great. For our next slice, we're making our testimonial slice. So looking at Figma here, well, we're done with our feature slice. I'm now doing the testimonial slice. So you might be thinking, well, cool, like we already saw all of that, Lucy. So it's already like a repeatable zone with like a title, like a description, like an image, a title, and everything. But well, this time we're gonna use another technique. It is essential for building a Prismic website. It's great to have in its toolbox. So, well, in Prismic, content relationship, like our way to establish a connection between different content type. For example, you could create a blog post custom type and an offer custom type, then use a content relationship to link the blog post to the offer, allowing you to retrieve and display the offer's information along with the blog post. In this case, what we're gonna do is that we'll create a testimonial custom type, and each testimonial will be its own document. And then in our slice, we'll have a content relationship to this to the testimonials document type, so we can pick like a testimonial to be displayed here instead of having to enter all those data every time we want to use this testimonial across our website. So, well, that's what we're gonna do. So we'll start by creating our custom type document type. So heading back to Slice Machine here, I can go to custom types this time because this testimonial like won't be a page on its own. We'll click create. We'll use the reusable type because like we want to have multiple testimonials this time compared to setting where we only want one settings page, one settings document. For testimonial, we want like as many testimonials as we want. So we'll use the reusable type. We'll name it testimonial like this, click create. And now we'll start by adding some fields to it. So first of all, we'll click like new and we'll add a name. So the name will go like the key text, we'll go like name, and that will be the name of our testimonial. So in that case, it could be like Aisha W. So we'll go name. Then we have the UID here. It was already here for us, so we'll put in like second. And the UID, as I said, is like the slug of the testimonial. Like it's just a way like to like query it within Prismic or like to reference it within a page. So we can keep it like this. We'll add another field. Same will be the job title. So for job title, like which is like digital marketing specialist in this case, we'll again like use a key text field and we'll name it like job title. We add again a new field. This time it will be like for the avatar. So we got an image, we'll name it avatar. And what we can do here, we can maybe like constrain its size. So we'll go like 256 on both. Like we have like a square avatar here. And finally, we'll have the quote. So we'll like add a new field. This time we'll go rich text because the quote like maybe it's bold inside and things like that. And we'll name it quote. It will be rich text. We can click the crayon here. We'll unselect everything, just have like one paragraph, bold and italic, but you can have like a bit like richer quote without having like a whole blog post inside them. We can click save, and now we can click save on Slice Machine. It saves our custom type. And well, that's pretty much it. So now we can create slices that display our testimonial. So let's create our slice. So again, this time, just to change, I'll go to slices here and create a new slice. I will name it testimonials. I'll click create. This will create my slice for me inside my file system, my project. On the non-repeatable zone, as you can see here, we still have our heading. So we'll add our heading again. So go like with rich text. We'll name it heading. We'll click the little crayon and enable everything. Well, enable only H2s because we only want one H2 here. And then we'll use again the repeatable zone here. But as I said, instead of having like a field for each of those items, we'll just have like a content relationship field, and we'll name it. Well, okay, we'll name it testimonial. I have testimonial right here. We can click this crayon again, and here we'll select the type we want to constrain it to. So we can like constrain it to a page, to settings, or to testimonial. In our case, we only want testimonials here, so I can click testimonials, and I can click done. And now I can save my slice. I can go back to my page here because this time I created the slice from the slices tab. So I can go to my page here, and I can like click add slice, select existing, testimonial, and this adds the slice to my page custom type. We can also get redirected of the rich text slice that was like the default one we're not using anymore. Click save here. One thing we can also do is add a screenshot to our testimonial slice. So even if it's not developed yet, we can still add a screenshot. So we can click select, and we can pick our testimonial screenshot that we exported before together. Here we go. It's not uploading. Here we go. So we have it. And now inside our change tab, we can hit push changes to Prismic. And the reason we're pushing changes to Prismic yet is that the slice simulator that we've been using so far is not capable of handling content relationship as of recording this tutorial. It will be soon in the future, but for now it's not capable of handling content relationship. So what we'll do instead, we'll already add our slice at Prismic, and I create a few testimonials together so that like we can do the templating of this new slice. Let's get back to our document tray here, and we'll start by creating our testimonial. So maybe this will get speed up because it's not like that interesting to simulate like writing like just testimonial, but we'll see about it. So we'll start with Emily. So we'll take like it's well, maybe I can type that. So let's have the page builder here. So we have Emily W. Emily W. She's a UX designer. We need to take the image here, so we'll like click here and like download it. So I will take like the source image, download it here, so I can like get it on my desktop. We'll actually like do the same for like all the other images. So I can click here, take the source image, get it to my desktop, and same for Aisha. I can click here, source image, and get it to my desktop. So now we'll be able like to upload it within Prismic. Getting back here, I can click select image, upload media. I can take this one, which is Emily. Here we go. So that's not Emily. We'll replace it with Emily. And then the quote. So I can just copy it from Figma, get back to Prismic, paste it here, and we have our quote showing up. Cool. I'm wondering. Yes, that's a rich text. Cool. So that match. I need a UID. Cool. So yeah, we'll go like Emily W. Click save, publish. So I have one of our testimonial ready. I can go back, create two more. Go here, testimonial. This time we'll do like mark. So we'll go like mark error. We'll go with mark error. Job title, Mark is a non-profit funder. select an image, we'll upload mark. So mark is this one. We get mark here, we can get this quote, get back here, paste the quote, save and publish. And finally, we have Aisha. So again, we'll create the testimonial. Here we go, testimonial. So this time it will be Aisha W. It will be Aisha W. Job title, she's a digital marketing analyst. Specialist, sorry. Select image, same deal, upload media. This time Aisha is this image. Here we go, can get a quote, copy, Prismic, paste the quote, save, publish. And now we can go back to our document tree, and this time we'll get to our home page here. And on the home page, what we'll do, we'll add another slice, and we'll have this slice named testimonial slice. So, well, you can just add the title, so what our user says, so what our users say. And now we have the repeatable section here, so I can like click add, add, and add. So we'll have like 3 testimonial, and I can link to a testimonial. So we'll have first Emily, then Mark, finally Aisha. I can save that, publish. And now what we'll do this time is that we'll work on templating our slides from Nuxt server directly. Going to VS Code, we can go to our slice. So go like to our new testimonial slice here, starting like to get the hang of it. And well, for now we only have like our placeholder component for testimonial slice. So let's start just adding a branded component here so like it's all centered correctly. And what we see here, we can like just log what we get from Prismic. So we got like log our slice. And actually like we'll slice.items to get like only the items. And we'll go like the first items to see what our testimonial actually looks like. So you can see we have our first testimonial. We have an ID for it. We have the type. We have the length. We have the slug. We have the first publication date. Like there's no, well, the only thing that looks like our testimonial is like the UID that we have here. It is MEW. So indeed, by default, Prismic, when we have a content relationship to something, it's only giving you information like metadata about this document. If you want to get more, we need to use a feature from Prismic, which is called fetch link. And fetch link is used when you query the content from Prismic. And it's basically some kind of like mini GraphQL feature that allows you to tell Prismic, well, actually, whenever you give me something from this type of content relationship, like give me a bit more, like give me like the name, the title, and everything. So to do so, we can add to our index page here and update our query to Prismic. So you can see here we're using like prismic.client.getByUID, page, and home. And what we can add another element here, and we'll name it. And well, it's an option object you can provide to Prismic when querying it. And like there's a lot of options you can provide to that. What you want to provide in this case is the fetch link option. So we'll go like fetch links. Well, this is an array, and this is basically an array of like fields we want to get from our testimonial document type. So we'll go like testimonial dot quote, and if I save that already, we can see now I have the quote coming up. And so we can do that for all the fields we want to get from our testimonials. We want the quote, we want the avatar, we want the name, and we want the job title. And without much, you can see already like now I have all the information we need. Like we have the quote, we have the avatar, we have the name and the job title. So we have all the data we need to be able like to template our job title, like our testimonials correctly within our testimonials slice. So, well, let's see our Figma. So first of all, one thing we can notice quickly is that we have like the same like heading as our feature size. So we can like copy that, like steal that from our previous feature size. So go like to our feature size. I can click the heading here, copy it, go back to my testimonial and paste it. So this allows me that like when I go to Nuxt, you can see we have like what our user says now. And now what we need to do is like we need to loop over our testimonials. So what we could do, we could loop over slice.items, But the issue is that like, well, maybe like, well, this will cause us issue with TypeScript, because as you can see here, like if I go like a colon, like TypeScript doesn't know what we have here. If I give like a quick restart to view, well, you can see like we have testimonial indeed, but like with them, we just have a link type. We don't have anything else. So what we can do instead, like to just fix that, we can like go here, and what we'll do, we'll go like a const testimonials, and basically we'll extract the testimonials from our slice using a view computed properties. Go like this, an object, and what we'll do here, we'll return props.slice.items, and go like we'll do like a map, go like item.testimonial. You just like to flatten a bit like the object. Yeah, and so well, here I'm using props, but in like first of all, we need like to extract our props. So go const props like this, and now we get our testimonials. So like you have an array of content relationship field for testimonial. Cool, we're getting closer to our goal. But what we want to do first, like we want to filter. So basically, we want like on Prismic, like what you can do, you can like add a group, but like maybe it's empty. Like, well, maybe this controller didn't fill it out or something like that. So like to prevent any issues with the application, we'll just make sure like the field is filled. So we can do filter here and go like filter on testimonial. And what we can do here is use Prismic is field helper. So here I'm importing content from Prismic client. What you can also import is the is field helper like this. And I can do is field dot content relationship, and I give to this helper my content relationship, we'll go testimonial, and this just returns a boolean based on whether or not my content relationship is filled. And from here, what I can just say, which is like a bit like cheating, but basically the slice is not aware that we use fetch link on our page to get our data with like more information from Prismic. And so to make TypeScript aware of that, because like here, if I go like to my testimonial, I go like testimonials, the 0, and yeah, I still have just only like link type. So to fix that, I can cheat a bit with TypeScript and tell like, well, actually, this is something we don't know, but trust me, it's really a content that it's really like a testimonial document that we're fetching here. So that's not technically true, but it's true enough in our case that we can use it like this, which means that here now if I go and click colon, you can see we have all the data for our document for us, and namely we'll have inside data, we'll have the avatar, the job title, the name, the quote, and so on. So from here, we're ready to template our testimonial cards together. So let's do our templating. So we can go back to Nuxt. Well, Nuxt like freaked a bit out, so let's just like unblock it. Cool. And so from here, well, we need to do a loop. So again, what we'll do, we'll have like a div that wraps everything, and we'll do like some classes on it to do like the grid layout. And then we have a div that will loop over here, and I can bring inside like my testimonial data. And what I want to say here, like v4 and v4 testimonial of testimonials that we just created together as a computed property right here. Then we need to add a key, so we got key. And what we'll say here is like a testimonial.data.name. And if we don't have any name, we'll just give an empty string. That will be fine for us. We can save that. And now here, if I load my testimonial, we'll see like we have like all our testimonials, so 1, 2, and 3. So just to see a bit more what we're doing, we'll add the grid. So go like grid, class grid on our wrapper div here. So go like grid. We'll set on large screen, it's a grid calls 3. And on small screen, like just like one call grid, so grid calls 1. Let the gap of 8. So like that will be like 32 pixel. Because if you look at our Figma here, on desktop, it's like lined like this, like 3 card. On mobile, it's like on top of each other, vertical layout like this. So this gives us a bit like closer to what we want to do. And if we like try like to narrow a thing, you can see it moves on like to vertical layout like this. So that's all we need here. Going back to our card here, we can see, well, maybe like let's get rid of those like really like ugly JSON. So first of all, we'll go like a Prismic rich text. Go like a rich text like this. So go like save, close it. We need to provide it with our field, and here we'll display our quote. So go like testimonial.data.quote. And so this should display our code like this. I went to add a few classes on it because it's like display like in a big way here. So like it's mainly like a great leading and like a bigger font. So let's work on that. So like class, and here we'll go with text XL to have like bigger text. Then like on medium screen layer, we maybe like go even like higher. So like we'll go like 2XL. So it's like 24 pixel, which is what we should have here, I think. Yeah, we have 24 pixel, and on mobile it's a bit smaller. So like it's, well, actually it's also 24 pixels. So maybe we don't need that. We can stick with just text 2XL to have 24 pixel everywhere. Like this. What else we need to do? We need like to add our font for body, which is like a bit more like legible. Go like text slate 600 to have like a bit like a grayish color like we have here now. It's 700, so all right, so let's go with 700. Then we'll add like a margin bottom at it, because then like we have our other content coming with it. So go like a div, and go class flex, items center. So here in this div, what we'll do, that will display our image here, and then like our stack with the name and the job title of this person. So you can go back here. What we'll do, we use this time the Prismic image component. The Prismic image component, just like the Prismic rich text component, is using like a field to get the image from Prismic. So go like testimonial.data.avatar. And as you can see here, like our image, it was really big on Prismic. Like just as a reminder, like it's big like this. Like it has been served like smaller by ImageX, which is Prismic image CDN. And this is already saving us some bandwidth and time, but well, we can like now like do the style to have it fit our design. So go like class, go like rounded full to get like the rounded version of it, like margin right, because there will be like some text on the right, and then we'll do like aspect square in case like there's one that is not like a square to start with. We'll add like a width. So what's the width we want on that? It's 56 pixel on mobile and on desktop. So you can just go with 56 pixel. Actually, we don't need like this. You can just go like this, and 8 goes the same. And yeah, so that's already, well, that's pretty much everything we need here. So we have our image showing up. Next up, we need our job title and name. So go like another div. Well, like this time it's like all key text. Like it's not, we don't need any rich text with testimonial.data.name and testimonial.data.job title, like this. So it's showing up like this. So we'll just like wrap each of them with a p tag. Up. Here we go, and then we go p. Like this. So for the name, what does it look like? So it's like it's 700, 16 pixel. Okay, noted. So we can go here, go class, go text base, font medium, and text slate 700. Here we go. And next for the job title, it's a bit later, I think. Yes, it's later, so it's 500. So we'll go again, text base and text slate 500, like this. One last thing we need to do is like we have a quote, like it has like a bigger leading. So we'll work on that. So we'll have our rich text here, and we'll go with leading 10, that's 40 pixel leading, just like what we have here. So like line 8, 40 pixel, and leading 10 is line 8, 40 pixel. Nice. And well, we're missing one thing. It's like we have like this little like card layout inside. Like it's like subtle, but I can see like, it's like a white rounded card. So let's just work on that. We can go to our for loop here. can add a class. So what we'll do like BGY to start with. We'll have a shadow LG because like there's a small shadow to it. You can see there's like a subtle shadow to it. Go shadow LG. Then we go like rounded LG. There's like a rounded corner to it. Cool. Like a border. Do we need a border? I don't think we need a border. Is there a border? That's a really light border, but I don't think we need it. Yeah, no. Well, we'll stick with the white background, I think. Like this. And so now we just need to work on the margin. So on desktop, we have big margin. On mobile, we have small margin. So let's work on this gradient of margin together. So go px8 on mobile, and on medium, go like px14, like this. Go py10 on mobile, and on desktop, go like py16, like this. We'll say it's a grid, and like we'll space the content between. Here we go. Great, so now it's all aligned like correctly, as you can see here. And well, that's pretty much our design. So it looks like this, and on mobile, it goes like this in this stack layout. Cool. So, well, great. We just made our testimonial slides together. The main thing we learned in this lesson is that we're able like to create like different content type in Prismic and to reference them through content relationships inside our slices. And this allows us to fetch those data inside our slices smartly, get just what we need to template it correctly inside our slice. The last thing we need to do together is go back here and do our commit message. So go fit testimonials slice. We can click the little check mark, and now it's all committed to GitHub, and we're ready to move on to our two last slices. We just worked on two like complex slides, like the testimonial slice and the more like subtle feature slice, which involved a lot of new notion and concept like for us to learn about. We'll now work on a more like simple slice, which is our text image slice that we have right here. So what we'll do for this one is that we'll have two variations. We'll have like a text right image, text right image left and a text left image right. Those will be two variations, and well, it will be quite straightforward to template them. We'll have like a heading field, a body field, and an image field, and a variation for each of them. So, well, let's get to work with that on Slice Machine. So I go to my page type here, can click Add Slice, create a new slice. Here, this time I'll name it text with image, like this. And so I'll go with my text with image. Can already update the screenshot, so I can like pick our screenshot. So go like text with image 1. So it will be like text. No, this is already failing me every time, but well, no worries. We'll see on a way to fix that. So I have the first one is like the image on the left, text on the right. We'll add a few fields. So we go like heading. So go like again heading with a rich text field. We'll only allow H2s. Then we add a new field, which will be our body. Go body. And here for our body, we'll unselect all just like paragraph, bold, and italic. Click save. Add a new field finally, and it will be our image, like this. Save our image. And so from here, what we can do, we can already save that. We can create a new variation. And this time our variation, we'll call it image right. Can save the variation. So now we have two variations. We have the default variation and the image right variation. So we can save it, upload the screenshot, select the screenshot. This time it will be text with image. Here we go. We have text with image. So we have our two variations. We have the one with the image on the left, the one with the image on the right. And while we're done with our templating, we can click the simulate size button. And this will get us to like a default placeholder size as we're used to now. And we can get ready and start templating that together. Okay, so for the template, it will be quite straightforward. What we can do is like going back to VS Code, we can open our new slice, close everything else. What we can do here is maybe like just apply already our bounded component, which gets us our nice container. And from here, what we can go back to this machine, click the show code snippets, and we'll like just copy paste everything to get us a bit like a head start on our component. So like this, going back to simulator, we now see like our header, our body, and our image. And now we can start working on the templating. So we'll have our image first here inside the HTML. And now, well, let's just get that aligned correctly. What we'll do, we'll wrap everything within a div. So this will allow us to control like our flexbox and like the flow of everything. On actual, maybe we'll not do a flexbox, just do like a class with like a grid. So that like on mobile, we can like switch to one column layout. So like grid, gap 8. So on media manager, go with a grid calls 2. And we'll place item center. So like this, so we already have like our image on the left and our text on the right. And actually like our body is underneath. So we need like to wrap it with our title so like it's all like together. So we'll wrap that with a div. Like this. You can go here. We have our div. So maybe there's like some kind of padding underneath. There's 8 pixels. So like 8 pixel in Tailwind is like P2. Let's go class and we'll go like a margin bottom 2. Like this, we have a small margin. Again, we won't choose like a rich text here. We just want an H2, so go Prismic text. We add a wrapper, say like, well, we want to wrap that with an H2. And now we have an H2. If we were to inspect our element, it should be an H2. Here we go, so it's an H2. Going back to our code, we can maybe get rid of that to have us more real estate and have that bigger. Here we go, that's maybe much nicer. Into our class, we'll slap our heading classes. So go heading LG. So that's for heading. For the rich text here, we'll also add some class. Go like text LG, font body, and text slate 600, like this. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So what we might need to do, let's see. Yeah, it's all tiny. So maybe we need like to constrain the width. Like we are like 325. Yeah, that's our designer wanted that. So let's go here. Let's see what we're doing. And what we'll do is just constrain that in terms of like width. So go width. Go like max width MD, which is about what we wanted. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're getting closer. And we're getting very close actually. What we need to figure out now is how we can center that piece on our, how we can center that text within within like the, I don't know how to speak. How we can center that part with the image. So to do so, get back to our div here, and it should be already place, not place contents, place item center, and now it's centered. Cool. What else do we need to do? We have some padding here. There's some kind of weird. Oh no, that's because our image is really tall here. Okay, cool. So that's fine then. Can go to our image, can apply a full class to it. So go class, go like rounded LG. We have like the nice like little roundness on it. And well, as you can see here, like I was already on the image right variation. That's not what we want. We have like the little like default variation for the image right. Actually, like let's just replace that with a more squarish image like this. Like it looks a bit more like what we want to work on. And so here we need like the two reverse. We need like the chamber to be here and like the image to be on the left. So to do so, we can go on our wrapper here. We'll have like a class, which are our basic class. And what we can do is like just use again like a conditional class here. And what we'll do, we'll revert the order. So go like on medium, go like order 2. Exactly. This will revert the order of like the first item, the second item together. And we say we only want that when our slice.variation is image right, like this. So this is not working yet. Oh yeah, my bad. We don't need to do that on the div itself. We want just to do that on the image. So going back here, can go to our image, save it, and now it's like reverse like this. So if I go back to my default variation, it's like this. Go back to my image right, it's like this. So, well, let's just like weigh a bit what we're doing here. Again, like we're in like a 40 line 8, so that's quite straightforward. You can go to our rich text here, go like leading 10. This goes like a bigger text like this. We might want to make the text like 24, so like LG is like only 18 pixels. So we go like maybe 2XL for like getting 24, like this. And then like that's like a 8 pixel, cool. On mobile, it goes down to still 24, so we can keep it like this. And our text is still like this, cool. So we have a variation done. Well, and we're ready to proceed. So again, like we have our image right here. We have our default variation here. We can save our mocks if it wasn't done. We can go back to slice machine. On our change tab, we can see we have two changes. One for our page where we added our new image, text with image slice, and one with our new slice here with two variations that worked on together. We can push all of that to Prismic, go to VS Code, and do our commit to Git. So go like fit text with image slice, and we're getting really close to like getting our site done. Like there's one slice left, and so well, let's get to work on that. We're getting really close to finishing our work on the slices. We worked on the hero slice, the text with image slice, the feature slice, testimonial slice. And what's left for us to work on is this little, like really cute call to action slice. So, well, let's have a look a bit at the design already. So we can see it has a heading, it has a body, it has then a button with a CTA, so with like just like try it for free, which would be like a label and like a link on top of this button. So let's get to Prismic and create this quick call to action slice together. So I go to slice machine, go to my page type. Here I can click add slice, create new. I'll call this one call to action. And from here, I have my call to action slice here. I can again add the thumbnail to it. So I go with call to action. Here we go, I have my thumbnail, which again failed me, but that's fine. So go again, call to action. Now it's good. I have our call to action, and now we can do the templating. So as I said on Figma here, we have like a heading, a body, and a button with a CTL link and the CTL label. So let's do our heading. So heading will only allow H2s. We'll then add our body. We only allow a paragraph, bold, and italic. We add another field. This time it will be our button text. So for our button text, it will be just a key text field. So we go like button text. And add another field, which will be this time a link, which will be like button link. I can save all of that, open the simulator, and get to template all of that. And again, we will leverage our snippets to get a head start on our component. So I can go here, open my component, make it full screen, and we'll copy like all our little like snippets here. So we'll go one for the heading, one for the body. We'll take the button here. I will put like inside the link, we'll go with the button text. Going back to the simulator, we now see all of that. We can like keep like the try it free. We can close that, and now we're ready to template. So first of all, we get like our bounded component here. And now if we look at our Figma, we see that we need to do some kind of small card here. So again, what we'll do for that, we'll do like some kind of div, we'll add like some rounded border radius to it, like a drop shadow, and then we'll see how we can do this small gradient with Tailwind. So I will like wrap everything inside a div. Here we go. I can move all of that inside it. Then I add my Tailwind classes. So as we can see here, are like little cards, like way smaller than a container. It's like 800 pixel wide. So we'll work on that here. So we'll go like max width for Excel, for example, and this does like 800 pixel. Cool. We'll do like a MX auto to like center it horizontally. Then we'll do like some kind of gradient of padding, because as you can see here, like we have like a big padding on desktop and like a smaller one on mobile. So let's do that. So we'll say something like on medium screen and higher, we'll do like a padding of 12, just like a small padding on mobile, so like just 4. We'll go like a padding of 12 again on everything, like by default on the y-axis. Then we'll go like a grid to like display every item inside it as a grid. We'll do like place items center. This is a way just to center everything correctly. We can, well, cannot rounded LG already. This will like add a border radius to our element, but since we don't have any background, we don't see it. If I add like a red background quickly, you can now see we have our rounded radius. But actually, let's work on our gradient. So again, like we'll use like the few Tailwind classes to work on our gradient. So go like PG gradient, like to top right. Then we'll say like, well, we start from cyan 500, for example. And you can see like there's like a subtle background showing up, and we'll go all the way up to, well, let's say like to emerald 50. We have now this gradient. And what we can see also with Tailwind, I can say, well, actually, like make a stop at the middle, like with like white. And you can see like now we have like a emerald, cyan, and like a white strip in the middle. So that's for our little like fancy card. We can add a few more things to it. We need like to add some shadows. So go like shadow Excel like this. And now we have like our card showing up a bit like what we have in Figma right here. You can see like we have like emerald and like cyan, and then we have like the little like white strip in the middle. So that's what we got here. Now we can work on our button, on our body, and on our little heading here. So let's do that. So, well, first of all is a button. It will be quite straightforward. As you remember, like early on when we're working on our hero component, we add a style for the button. So we can just add that to our link, and we'll have our button showing up. Class button, and now we have a button that like has a nice over style with animation and everything. We can now do the body here. So for the body, we add a few classes. Well, first of all, like center the text. Then we'll do like the text color. So go like text slate 600. And finally, we'll just add like some padding, like some margin with the button like this. So let's see if it looks like a bit what we have here. So we have like a, yeah, we have like a 32. So that's 8 indeed. And then we have like just the heading to do, which has like a 8 pixel margin within it. So let's work on our heading. So we'll go like MB2 for like the margin bottom. We'll go like heading, heading small, and well, we can save that. We have our heading showing up. We can also like simplify the shell, just saying like Prismic text, and we'll like a wrapper. And this time here we say width and H2. So what like what we did with the other heading in our application. So well, like that's pretty much it. Like we have our little like CTA card here. On mobile, it's looking great. Like it's looking on Figma. It's like more simpler and like with like smaller padding and everything. So well, we're pretty much done with our CTA slides. That was quick. So you can see like our desktop, we're happy with it. You can save the mux, get back to Slice Machine. Inside our change again, we're changing our page because like we added our call to action here. And we have a call to action slice. We can hit push to Prismic. We can go to our version tab on VS Code and do our commit. So go like fit CTS slice. And well, without much, like we're done with our last slice and we're ready to explore the last part of making our website live. All right, we've got all of our slices created. Their models have been pushed to Prismic, so we have no changes in our changes tab. So now let's see what our page will look like with all the content loaded. you can either add your own dummy content or like pick content like I will do from Figma with our like homepage page here. So, well, let's head to the page builder. Inside it, we have our homepage here. So it's save, just to be on like to refresh to get our new slices. And well, from here, like what I will do is that I will pick, like just enter the content we have on our Figma. So we already have our hero and our testimonials here. I will do like the remaining that we have here so that like we can see our page completely finally within our next application. So well, let's enter the content together. So my Figma here, what I will do first, I will extract all my images using Figma Dev. So I can have my image here, another one. So I can run export and get like all the PNGs for that. So I will export them on my desktop. So click save. And now I have everything on my desktop. So as I said, we already on Prismic have our hero and our testimonials. So we'll add another slice here. And I will pick the text image slice. So here's the heading. I'll take the heading from Figma. So let's just have that like in a more convenient place. Here we go. Like this. You can copy the heading. You can copy the text. Here we go. And now I can pick my image. So upload media. Here we go. Let's just see which one I'm supposed to pick. So it will be text with image slice photo. Text with image slice photo. So we can pick it here. Cool. This is default variation. That's what we want. Then we have our robust features slice. So we can go here. Have features. So we'll add like 4 items inside it. So we'll like need like 4 free calendars. Go with heading. So this will be robust features. Then we can do like scheduling. We'll have analytics, have integrations. We have focus timer. So we want a calendar, bar graph, a clover, and an hourglass. Then we just need to pick our little text here. You can click like copy to get the text, add the text, add the text, add the text, and add the text. Cool. Now we need to do like 2 more text with image size. So I go here with plus, pick the other text with image with the image right. So here what I will do, I'll take the heading. So I'll take mindful tracking. Here we go. Take the content here, copy it, select the image. So again, I will upload the image. So this time we want the 2 persons with like text with image. Text with image. Nice photo 1, this one. Here we go. Can add another slice. So we go here, click again like this one with the image on the left. Add our heading. So this one is productivity self-care. So then next the little like body here, body, select image. We'll upload the media. So this time it will be image 17. Like this. Go, we have image 17. And last but not least, we need our CTA at the end of the page. We'll CTA here. So go like unleash your inner productivity. We'll take the little like catchphrase here. Button is try for free. And the link, we'll just put a link to web. So go like https:// and then we'll go like prismic.io. So with that match, I can hit save, publish, and well, that's pretty much it. I just finished entering my content inside Prismic, as you can see here. So like all the content from my homepage, I hit saved and I published. And if I go back to my next website now and I hit refresh, you can now see like I have all my page showing up just like it does on Figma here. So cool. Well, we added content to our homepage on Prismic, but let's not talk about something that I'm really excited about on Prismic. Let's talk about previews. Now we're going to set up the fantastic Prismic Preview feature that lets you and your content team preview your page before publishing it to the world. editors need to be able to preview their work. It's a terrible experience if they're just hitting publish, hoping the page looks the way they want. With Prismic Previews, they can get to see the changes live on the site without your visitor seeing it yet. Plus, if you're on a big team, your editors can create as many previews on different documents as they need. They can group their edits across multiple documents into a release and preview everything at once. That's great if you're preparing for the launch of a new product, for example. And best of all, Prismic even has a preview link feature where you can send a specific URL to anyone and they will see the previews that you're seeing. All right, let's add previews to our site. It's just a couple of steps. First of all, thanks to Prismic Nuxt module, you don't have to set up anything within your code. So remember, when we set up our minimal starter, we had Prismic Nuxt module registered inside Nuxt. And thanks to that, well, some of you might have noticed it, but when we started on Nuxt server here, we can see it's logged to us like using default preview page available at /API/preview. That means that we can use this page to run our Prismic previews within our website, and in this case, within our development website. So let's do that. So let's head to our Prismic repository dashboard. So we'll exit our homepage document. And here you'll click the little cog at the bottom left here that will access us our repository settings. Inside it, look for the preview tab right here. And here we're able to add as many previews as we want to preview our work on different environments. So we can have one for development as we'll have here, but you can also have one for staging and everything. So we'll go with like development in our case. We'll target our localhost port, and then the root will be /API/preview. From here, I can just click like create my preview. And now I can go back to my document here, go to my home page. And now if I were like to put some changes here, so I can like productivity that flows, like just like this, I can hit save. And from here, well, either I can publish, but like right now it's not published. If I go back to my document here, I can say it's still saying like a productivity that flows with your life. But now here you can click like preview the page and you can preview on development. What this does, it brings us to our development server, it loads something, and then we have productivity that flows. And the great thing here is that, well, you now have like this little like card here, like with the toolbar that tells us, well, like those are the documents that we're like using on this page, or like the home page, like link document, which are like the testimonials, the settings page. And this is what we're previewing, the home page. You also like get to see like one document to preview on this page here. And more importantly, also like this get shareable link here. It gets you a link like this. You can click copy the link, and this link you can share it with your coworkers and everyone really. So for example, to just demo it, I can go to my guest session on Chrome here. I can pass the link, and now this will target me to my local website. I can see it refresh, and now I can see productivity that flows. But something even more like mind-blowing with previews and Prismic, that they are like live previews. So if I keep like that productivity that flows here and go to Prismic, and I change back to something like productivity that kicks, for example, and I hit save, like this saves, it's still not published. You can see like it refreshed my preview. And so that's just previewed content. And as soon as you want to exit your preview and like end the preview session, you can just click the little cross here. This will exit your preview, get like back to production content. So this was on my guest session, but you can also do so on your non-guest sessions. It was here, sorry. And here I can click exit and I get back to my regular state. So those are Prismic previews. They're like really powerful, but you can get even more previews. So let's check that out. But before we learn more about Prismic previews, I just want to show you something where Prismic and Nuxt gets really powerful. It's time for us to set up more pages. And as we know with the minimal starters, for now, we have like this UID page that has already been set up for us when we started our project. So let's just make sure it aligns correctly with what we have on our index page by, well, like let's get that bigger, and we need like to refactor our head. So to get that, we can get that from our index page here. So we get our head. And then here, like we're pretty much happy with what we have for the fetching. The last thing that remember for testimonial styles, we need to fetch more content. So we'll just get that array of options here and like slap it as an option to our client code here, like this. And so without much, like our other pages are ready to roll. So we have like components for size. We have like we're calling our Prismic composable. we're calling our root this time like to get the UID of the root. And from that, we're able like to use Prismic client to get a page by UID, and we give it like the root params UID. And then we're using fetchings again to fetch like more data for testimonial slice if we have any. We updated our SEO to SEO metadata to display everything we have, so the meta title, description, and meta image. And that's pretty much it, so we can save that. And one last thing I'd show in the code is that you might be wondering, well, like we're creating pages in Prismic, but how does Prismic know that like, well, this pages goes to that URL? So you might have guessed it's based on the UID, but there's a place where we define like our routing within Nuxt and Prismic. It's also within the Prismic module configuration here. And we have a client config, and to our client config, we give it an array of routes here. And so this is interesting. Basically, this is what we call at Prismic our route resolver. It's giving hints to Prismic API to resolve your content with some URLs. So for example, here we say, well, if it's a page type, then you resolve to /:UID. But we could have put something like /post/UID if it was a blog post, for example. Like let's say if we have a blog post type, we can go like post. We can like go /blog /UID, and this will resolve any post to /blog /its UID. And finally, second entry here is that we're adding an exception. We're saying, well, hold on. We want every page to resolve to /con_UID, except if it's the home page, or if it has the home UID, then we want to resolve it to to just /. So great. So we can save that. Don't need to update anything here actually. It was just example. We can add our little commit message, so like fit setup UID page. We can save that to GitHub already. Well, just to Git for now. We'll get to GitHub later on. And well, so we know more about like we have like multiple page setup, and we can actually go to Prismic and create more pages now. I'm just gonna create 2 more pages really quick. Like we'll do like the feature page, the about page. We'll just do like the hero, but you can add more if you want, or you can like create more pages if you want to. So let's start working on that. So we'll start with the feature page, which maybe we'll put like this, so we can like see a bit of both screen. So I can get back, well, I can publish my own page. I'm really happy with that new catchphrase here. Can go here. I will delete the another page, so I can click on it. And then from here, I can click archive. So it's archiving the home page, the another page in like a few. Here we go. I will click create a new page. So I click page. And here I will put a new page for features. So I'll name it like the UID. It will be features. It will be features. On the SEO tab here, I will add like a features and like features for finding focus. We don't add any meta image for that. Click add slice here, and to the add slice, what we can do, we can pick the hero slice here, and we'll pick like the small horizontal version of it. So we'll pick like the data from Figma. So we copy like the catchphrase here. Then we'll copy like the body. So we can go here, copy the body. The button text, it's try for free again. So we'll go try for free. Again, we'll link to Prismic, but feel free to link to whatever floats your boat. And we'll add the image. So likewise, like we'll just extract the 2 images for the feature and about page. Click plus export, gives me pages. Can click save on the home page. For my desktop, I'm happy about that. Click select image, upload media. And here I think I have features, which is not what we want. What's it called? It's called, well, I don't have it. Oh yeah, no, it was inside, it's inside the hero left, I think. Yes, here we go. So we want the little like camera lens thing. Can add it here, click save. And now what you can do also is previews, like just to swing back to that, you can click here and click preview the page, and like it's not published yet, but we can like still preview it on development. It will preview the page, open it, and you can still have like a feature for finding focus, like we have here. Well, we can save that. Actually, we can maybe exit the preview, close a bit our tabs, we get starting to get like 2 more tabs here. Well, let's publish our features page. Let's just create quickly the about page here. Go like create a new page. We'll call it about. It will be about. We'll like meta title about. We'll go like about the Florize theme. Can go back to main, add our slice. So we'll go again with the hero horizontal slice. We'll take like the heading from Figma. Here, copy, text the body from Figma, copy. Button link, well, we don't have any, well, let's just have button link, try for free. Well, no, maybe try for free, join us. Go like a link to the web. Prismic.io, here we go. We can select an image, so this time we'll select the image with the people on the beach. We can click the image here, click save. Likewise, you can preview if you want to, but for now we'll stick like with the default one. And we can get back to our page here. And what we can do is now also go to settings and update our navigation. Because remember, we have our navigation for now we're linking to Prismic and to GitHub. So let's update that to link to our page. I go here, Prismic, link to Prismic page. I will click the link and I will click next the one with the feature page. And here I also link to Prismic page, click the link to the about page. We'll go like with the features for the label and the about for the label. And this is where the preview starts to get interesting. Like if I save here, I can preview it. So again, I preview on development. And we'll see like our navigation has updated. So we now have like features and about, which shows our features and about page. We can close that. We can publish it to Prismic. We're happy with that. And without much, like we're pretty much done with creating pages with Prismic. And really like now with this page tab, we can create countless feature pages, about page, contact page, you name it. If you need a new website section, you can create it with Size Machine. Like we went through the basics together, but you can create like more sizes if you want to. And the great thing about that is that editors don't need to call developers and designers every time they need a new page. That's the power of Prismic pages. This whole time, we've been great about committing our work to Git. Now let's push that code to GitHub. It's a good practice that our work is saved somewhere on the internet other than just our local machine. If our hard drive fails right now, so like we'll lose all our work, but if we push to GitHub, then it's safe. And the great thing about that is like pushing to GitHub enables a lot of things for you, like likewise, like well, namely like contributing with other people as you may be familiar with, and also to deploy your site to Vercel that we'll see right after. So let's head to github.com. I'm going to go like to github.com. If you don't have an account, you can create one for free. Then once you're on this page here, once you're on your own page of GitHub, you can click the little plus here and create a new repository. So I'll create my repository with no template because we already have some code ready, and I'll create it inside my own like GitHub username. Then I'll name it like Florize Nuxt. And so Florize Nuxt available. I won't have a description. I will keep it public, and I can click like create repository from here. So this creates my GitHub repository where I will be able to host my code. So here it shows me a lot of commands that we can like run to host our code there. What's interesting for us is like we want to run those commands basically locally. So we can like copy them, can like go here, get to our terminal, close our server, put it on the side. So that's the first command. So git remote add origin GitHub like to my repository. So basically this tells GitHub, well, like you have like a Git repository locally, but actually like you have also remote origin where you can pull your code. Then we'll do like git branch masters, just initialize like the master branch of your Git repository. And once you're done with that, you can go git push -u origin master. And once again, like if you don't know those commands, like those are just the commands that are like referenced here, like and tailored across the name of the repository you picked. And without much, if I now refresh my page here, you can also have like all my code available online on GitHub. And with that, we're ready to host our website on Vercel together. So let's get to that. So let's head to vercel.com. So again, if you don't have an account here, you can create one for free. But for me, like you can log into GitHub if you just create well, you likely have a GitHub account by now. So, and here, what we can do, we can click add new project. and this gives me to vercel.com/new. Here I can select my repository, so the one we just created together, like Flora is Nuxt. I click import. So here I'm asked to pick like the configuration, like how I want to deploy it. So with Nuxt, like Vercel already knows about Nuxt, so I don't have a lot to do. The only thing you can do is to deploy your site statically, is to click the build and output settings, drop down here, and tick the override command here. This will run Nuxt generate, which will generate your Nuxt website statically to be run on Vercel. And from here, I can click deploy, and this will start Vercel deployment process. So basically, it's like if you are building your site locally, except it's run on Vercel, and Vercel runs it off your GitHub repository. So this takes a minute or two, and we can see the logs here. So you can see like Vercel is starting up, but well, we'll see once it's done, like what our website looks like. All right, so great. Our website like successfully deployed to Vercel. If we click the thumbnail here, it gets us to our like website hosted live on Vercel. You can add a custom domain here if you have one. And yeah, like our website is here, it's statically generated. It's really fast for SEO and everything. And as you can see, we have our multiple pages and everything is all managed in Prismic. And the great thing about that is that now whenever you push something to GitHub, it will redeploy your website with the latest features you added. So if you add more slices, if you like change the design, stuff like that, Vercel will take care of deploying that automatically for you to production. But GitHub is not the only source of truth we want to rebuild our website from. We also want to rebuild our website from Prismic. So let's see how we can do that with Vercel. So I have my Vercel project here, and I can click continue to dashboard. And what we want to do here is to set up a webhook inside Vercel that Prismic will be able to call whenever there's a content change that our website gets rebuilt. So to do so, I head to Vercel settings, then I can add to Git. And here if I scroll a bit, we have deploy hooks here. So I'll name my hook Prismic. I'll set it to deploy the master branch because that's the branch I want to deploy to Vercel. And I click create hook. What this gives me this long URL that I'm able like to call to rebuild my website, but I don't want to call it manually. I want Prismic to call it on its own to rebuild our Vercel website. To do so, I can add to Prismic. I can get back to my dashboard. Again, we'll add to the little cog here, and this time we'll add to webhook. Inside webhook, we give a name to the webhook, so we'll call this one Vercel. Give it the URL, so that's the URL, just copy it from Vercel. We don't give it any secret or custom header. And inside the triggers, we can just tell it, well, triggers only when a document is published or unpublished. We don't need about release or tags. That's not like what we want to do with this hook. And from here, I can click add this hook. And what you can see here is that whenever I publish a document or unpublish a document, Vercel will trigger a rebuild and will update my website thanks to that. Another thing we might want to set up on Prismic right now is previews for our content writer. Indeed. So far, we've only set up previews for ourselves, for developers in localhost. But now that we have a public URL for content writer to use like for our production website, we can set up previews on this production website. So let's just close a bit like more tasks, it's getting messy. But I grab the URL and I can click create a preview. I'll create a preview for production. I will pass in the URL from Vercel that I got. And this time the URL is still the same, still /API/preview. And I can click create preview. But this means that now, whenever I go to my documents, I click like on updating one, I now have the option to preview on development or production. So that's great. That means our content writer can preview our content. But there's one more thing we can do with Prismic and with the page builder that, as you can see here, like there's like all these cards are like a bit weird since the beginning. What we can do here is I can click the like little like kebab menu here, click live preview settings, and here again I can put my URL from my website, and this time I will input like /slice simulator. What this does is it instantiates the simulator similarly to the one we had in Slice Machine right here, but inside our page builder so that we can see our content being updated live right here. So let's see, and you can see like here I have productivity that kicks. If you squint a bit, I have the image here, but basically the gist of that is like if I replace the image with another one, you can see it updated right here. Can get back to the one I add here. If I change the title, like productivity that flows, to get back to our original title, you can see like it's thing here. Like this slice is not being able to be previewed. That's because it's using content relationship. And as I said, content relationship aren't supported yet by Prismic slice simulator. So we're working on that, but for now you won't be able to preview that kind of slices. But all the other ones, you can see you can have like a quick preview here. And if we want to have like a preview on Vercel, again, I can just click it, save, not publish it yet. Get back to the preview page here, click production this time. And this brings me to flowrise.next/Vercel. You can see it shows productivity that flows, which is previewed content. As you can see with the toolbar here, you can again get a shareable link. And once you're done with your preview and you're happy about it, you can close it to get back to the production version. And as promised, we set up previews with Vercel, we set up previews within the page builder here, and also set up a webhook, which means that if I publish this page now, done, it's published, and I go to Vercel, to my deployment tab, we can see that it created a new deployment for us. And that's like in the process of publishing our new changes. And so as soon as it's done, we'll see productivity that flows back on our website here, just like as we configured and edited within Prismic. So let's wait a minute for that, and we'll see our content live. So that's it, like the build is done on Vercel. If I go back to my live website and give it a refresh, you now see productivity that flows just like we did in Prismic. So great, like we are pretty much done with our website now, congrats. So we built the whole website, but well, let's just recap all of that together. We are done. In this course, you built a full-featured Nuxt site using Prismic for your website builder. From creating pages and adding slices to those pages and just seeing how fast the production site can update, you now have the skills to create a performant website where content editors can easily build on-brand pages. We went from Figma designs to Slice Machine, and you learned how to turn any design into slices for Nuxt. The development experience was smooth thanks to automatic mock data, code snippets, and the slice simulator. By the end, we had a production-ready Nuxt site deployed on Vercel with TypeScript, Tailwind, and industry best practices. This is really something you can be proud of. Now take what you've learned and make it your own. Try adding more slices, custom types, create a blog, case studies, or connect your site with other services. And remember, if you get stuck anywhere, Nuxt, Tailwind, Prismic, Vercel all have amazing documentation. And whatever you build, please share it with the Prismic community forum for feedback and inspiration. I'd love to see it, so please tag me in. Thank you once again. My name is Lucia Burr. Please comment below and let me know what you want to see in the next tutorial. I really appreciate you making it this far into this one, so please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much and have a great day.